University Malaysia Kelantan, UMK, is an entrepreneurial university. We implement the government's aspiration to ensure the younger generations are not only highly educated but also entrepreneurial. UMK is the #1 entrepreneurial university in Malaysia and aspires to be one of the world's best by 2030. This is in line with the National Entrepreneurship Policy, which aims to make Malaysia an entrepreneurial country by 2030. According to this vision, UMK ensures the whole university functions within an entrepreneurial ecosystem. This ecosystem comprises of 9 faculties supported by institutes and centers of excellence implemented with the discipline of innovation-based entrepreneurship. The university's upper management, together with UMK employees at all levels, are committed to realizing UMK as a Malaysian public university well respected for its foundation of entrepreneurship. Implementing this ecosystem, the UMK Entrepreneurship Institute UMKEI oversees 3 other entrepreneurship-based centers: the Center for Entrepreneurship Development and Education CEED, the Institute of Small and Medium Enterprises ISME, and the Global Entrepreneurship Research and Innovation Center GERIC. The Faculty of Entrepreneurship and Business, spearheading this structure, has successfully developed collaborative entrepreneurial networks such as UMK Frontier Street, Entrepreneurship Advisory Council, and proudly led the Committee for Ministry of Higher Education Guide to Entrepreneurship Integrated Education. From the academic aspect, UMK offers 29 undergraduate programs and 16 postgraduate programs in the fields of business and management, tourism and hospitality, science and technology, as well as arts and heritage. The university is constantly enhancing its teaching and learning system to ensure that the process of learning takes place creatively and innovatively through My Academic Integrated System, My ICE, massive open online courses, MOOCs, and blended learning. UMK is committed to the development of first-class graduates to become the leaders of industry. Collaboration with world-class local corporate sectors, as well as a network of well-known regional educational institutions, is aimed at empowering UMK from various angles. This is evidenced by the increase in the marketability of graduates and graduates who create jobs through businesses. Research, innovation, and commercialization is another important part of UMK. Research funding and the number of innovations and commercialized products increase every year. UMK has performed well in various prestigious competitions. With the hashtag UMK for Society, UMK is also involved in various community activities. Our staff and students consistently demonstrate outstanding skills and abilities. With such a great spirit of teamwork, UMK has never looked back to emerge as a respected educational entity in the region. We at UMK believe that our presence will give a new look to the development of the Valley of Knowledge. Indeed, our core, entrepreneurship, will always make us, University Malaysia Kelantan, relevant, unique, and different.
Assalamualaikum and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We would like to start this event with the national anthem and Terbilang UMK.
Negara peradaban bangsa. Janji kami pada semua, taburi jasa di mana jua. Merintis perubahan terkini demi-Mu yang Maha Pencipta. Merealisasi misi mencari realiti demi negara yang tercinta. Relevan, unik dan berbeza, bencana peradaban bangsa. Janji kami pada semua, taburi jasa di mana jua. Universiti Malaysia Kelantan terbilang UMK.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera and good morning. Yang berbahagia Profesor Dr. Razli Cik Razak, Vice Chancellor Universiti Malaysia Kelantan. Yang berbahagia Profesor Teknologis Dr. Arham Abdullah, Deputy Vice Chancellor Research and Innovation Universiti Malaysia Kelantan. Yang berbahagia Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Nur Hakimi Yusof, Senior Director UMK Entrepreneurship Institute Universiti Malaysia Kelantan. Yang berbahagia Dr. Ajla Mokhtar, Keynote Speaker, Senior Lecturer University of Hertfordshire. Yang berbahagia Dr. Alfonso Martini Plaper, Keynote Speaker, Senior Lecturer University of Aberdeen. Yang berbahagia Encik Novi bin Tajuddin, Keynote Speaker, Chief Executive Officer, the Malaysia Institute of Certified Public Accountant, MIPA. Yang berbahagia Puan Aja Julia binti Abu Bakar, Keynote Speaker, Social Impact Director, Antenna Holding Sdn Bhd, all Director, Deans and Deputy Deans, members of ICEIT 2022 Organising Committee, and all participants of ICEIT 2022. Ladies and gentlemen, we are delighted to welcome you to the first International Conference of Entrepreneurship, Innovation and Technology, ICEIT 2022. University Malaysia Kelantan, through the Global Entrepreneurship Research and Innovation Centre, GARIC, is hosting the first International Conference on Entrepreneurship, Innovation and Technology, ICEIT 2022. This conference is considered as one of the GARIC virtual conference series that is conducted virtually from 25th until 26th October 2022 via Zoom platform. First ICEIT 2022 welcome empirical research, concept papers, and the case studies. This conference encourages scholars to share their qualitative and or qualitative research. Additionally, all papers are accepted through a rigorous double-blind peer review process and will be published in Conference Proceeding Index by ISR Proceeding, Scopus, and Google Scholar. This conference aims to be an excellent platform for knowledge exchange between academic research, sharing experience, and research finding, specifically in the social science field. Prospective authors are invited to submit a full paper which is describing original work on all aspects of related field. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to explain a little bit about GARIC. GARIC is an entrepreneurship center of excellence at the University Malaysia Kelantan UMK. Through GARIC, we empower our ecosystem members to be drivers of change. Through high-impact enterprise research and generation of innovative insights, we prepare our community to maximize upside of the Simpsons change happening in the world. Informed by our full awareness that those who are produce knowledge are not usually those who need the knowledge, We devised several channels to disseminate our insight: social media posts, blog posts, newsletter, special industries publication, and academic journal. We also organize innovation summits and case study conference for sharing our learning and helping the world get smarter. Let's extend our sincere gratitude to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala for giving us this opportunity to be here today. It is indeed a great pleasure to have all of you here on these occasions. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Muhammad Biyamin bin Cik Yaqub for dua recitation.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. We gather here today to express gratitude upon your greatest gift toward us. Allahumma ya hayyu ya qayyum ya dhal jalali wal ikram. In conjunction this event, we ask your help and guidance. Allahumma ya Rahman ya Rahim ya Arhamar Rahimin. Ya Allah, kindly give us strength and courage to face the struggle to find and gain knowledge. Kindly bestow blessing and physical and spiritual health, fitness of mind, peace of mind, strength of spirit. Allahumma ya Hannan, ya Mannan, ya Dhal Fadli wal In'am. Ya Allah, gain strength to our teacher and our leader to continue serve for people, society, nation and religions. Allahumma ya Aziz, ya Sattar, wa ya Fa'alu lima yurid. I pray to Allah, the first international conference on entrepreneurship, innovation and technology, ICEIT 2022, achieve success and bring wisdom and knowledge for all peace associates, which ICEIT 2022. Allahumma ja'al hadha jam'ana jam'an marhuma wa tafarruqana min ba'dihi tafarruqan ma'suma wa la taj'al fina wa la ma'ana shaqiyyan wa la matrudan wa la mahruma. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adzaban nar. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين.
Thank you, Mr. Muhammad Biyamin bin Cik Yaqub for dua recitation. Distinguished guests, faculty members, participants, ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, allow me to read the close of today's event. We are now going to listen to the welcoming speech delivered by the chairman of the first ICEIT 2022, Yang Berusaha Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Nur Hakimi bin Yusuf, also the Senior Director of UMK Entrepreneurship Institute, UMKEI. Please welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera and good morning. Yang berbahagia, Profesor Dr. Razli Cik Razak, Vice Chancellor Universiti Malaysia Kelantan. Yang berbahagia, Profesor Teknologis Dr. Arham bin Abdullah, Deputy Vice Chancellor Research and Innovation Universiti Malaysia Kelantan. Yang berbahagia, Dr. Ajla Mokhtar, Keynote Speaker, Senior Lecturer University of Hertfordshire. Yang berbahagia, Dr. Alfonso Martinez Philip, Keynote Speaker, Senior Lecturer University of Aberdeen. Yang berbahagia, Encik Novi bin Tajuddin, Keynote Speaker, Chief Executive Officer, the Malaysian Institute of Certified Public Accountant, MIPA. Yang berbahagia, Puan Anja Juliah binti Abu Bakar, Keynote Speaker, Social Impact Director, Athena Holdings Sdn Bhd. Yang berusaha, Associate Professor Dr. Norshela Cik Nawi. Director of Global Entrepreneurship Research and Innovation Center, come Chairman for first ICEIT 2022. All directors, dean and deputy deans, members of the ICEIT 2022 Organizing Committee, and participants of ICEIT 2022. Distinguished guests, it is a great honor for me to extend a warm welcome to the attendees who have traveled from all corners of the globe to take part in this momentous occasion, the first International Conference on Entrepreneurship, Innovation and Technology 2022 or ICEIT 2022. The purpose of this conference is to facilitate the sharing of information and experiences related to the dynamic fields of entrepreneurship, social empowerment, sustainability, finance and technology. We are honored to have with us here Yang Berbahagia Professor Dr. Razli Cik Razak, the Vice Chancellor Universiti Malaysia Kelantan, who will be officiating the first ICEIT 2022. I would like to congratulate each of you for submitting a paper to our seminar, which was accepted, and for being virtually present through the organizers platform. Ladies and gentlemen, for your information, the Global Entrepreneurship Research and Innovation Center, or GERIC, Universiti Malaysia Kelantan, is organizing this conference in collaboration with Euromid Business Academy, Turkey, Universiti Malaysia Sabah, Universiti Sultan Azlan Shah, and Universitas Muhammadiyah Riau, Umri, Indonesia. GERIC is an entrepreneurship center of excellence at the Universiti Malaysia Kelantan. This center launched on 19th of July 2012 by the Honorary Minister of Education Malaysia. The world is permanent white water, which means it's always changing. To survive in a place like this, you need a steady stream of new ideas and a clear understanding of how to be successful. GERIC was made on purpose to be a ship that meets those needs. At GERIC, we give our ecosystem members the tools they need to be change agents. By doing high-impact enterprise research and coming up with new ideas, we prepare our community to make the most of the positive effect of the big changes happening in the world. As an enterprise innovation lab, we provide businesses with smart consulting and product suite to assist them to overcome important obstacles. We collaborate with our clients, including public and private entities, to develop innovative new directions that position them to regularly achieve excellent performance. As a think tank for entrepreneurship and innovation policy, we work with government agencies and development organizations to make policies that are smart, doable, and focused on results. Our goal in all policy advocacy work is to have a long-term effect on the community. We help our students and people in the community start, run, and grow high-impact businesses through our ICEIT Venture Lab, which is a campus-based hub for startup incubation and acceleration. Through this lab, we find, coach, and mentor startups and give them important support. Aware of the fact that individuals who develop information are not typically those who require it, we devise multiple avenues for disseminating our insights, including social media posts, blog posts, newsletters, special industry publications, and academic journals. We also host innovation summits and conferences to share our knowledge and assist the globe in becoming more intelligent. To help us handle the difficulties of the digital age, GERIC launched this conference this year to highlight the issues and opportunities in entrepreneurship, innovation, and technology. The goal of this conference is to facilitate the meeting of many prominent academics from all over the world. All attendees will get the chance to share their findings, learn from others, and discuss pressing topics. Ladies and gentlemen, ICEIT 2022 highlighted case study-based research to be presented and shared by local and international scholars. Case studies are a subfield in the field of scientific research. A case study is a suitable research method employed by academics. Through case studies, copious and detailed information and data are gathered to address the study questions. In addition, case studies emphasize a holistic or exhaustive description and provide an in-depth explanation of an occurrence. In addition to case study-based research, ICEIT 2022 also provides the platform for researchers to present and share their latest research findings and innovation, describing the emerging technologies and direction in entrepreneurship, innovation, and technology issues. We do hope this 2 days event shall be fruitful results to accelerate scholars' knowledge, views, and research findings to greater heights. I'd like to express my heartfelt appreciation to the UMK administration for the ongoing support of this event and center. Thank you to the organizing committee led by Associate Professor Dr. Noshela Chetnawi and Dr. Siti Afiqah Zainuddin, and the team for your dedication and efforts in making the ICEIT 2022 a success. I'm truly grateful for all your efforts and hard work. Last but not least, to Dr. Bahedin Al-Reni from Euromid Turkey, UMS, USAS, and UMRI, thank you for your willingness to collaborate in this event. To all distinguished speakers and participants, I wish you all the best and have a fruitful discussion. Do enjoy the conference. Thank you. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you for the welcoming speech. Our event is continued by the opening speech by Professor Dr. Razli bin Cik Razak, Vice Chancellor of UMK. Please welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera and very good morning. Membahagia Profesor Teknologi Dr. Arham Abdullah, Deputy Vice Chancellor Research and Innovation, Universiti Malaysia Kelantan, Yang Berusaha Associate Profesor Dr. Muhammad Nur Hakimin Yusof, Senior Director UMK Entrepreneurship Institute, Universiti Malaysia Kelantan, Yang Bahagia Dr. Ajla Mokhtar, Keynote Speaker, Senior Lecturer, University of Hertfordshire, Yang Berbahagia Dr. Alfonso Martinez Philip, Keynote Speaker, Senior Lecturer, University of Aberdeen, Yang Berbahagia Encik Novi bin Tajuddin, Keynote Speaker, Chief Executive Officer, the Malaysian Institute Certified Public Accountant, MICPA, Yang Bahagia Puan Anja Julia binti Abu Bakar, Keynote Speaker, Social Impact Director, Athena Holdings Yang Berhad, Yang Berusaha Associate Professor Dr. Noshela Chetnawi, Chairman for First ICEIT 2022, distinguished guests, Alhamdulillah, let us express our heartfelt gratitude to Allah SWT for providing us with the opportunity to attend the first international conference on entrepreneurship, innovation and technology, ICEIT 2022 today. I'd like to greet all of you, especially the overseas speakers and participants, with Selamat Datang and virtual welcome to Malaysia. The reputation of UMK as a university has consistently improved, and we have gained substantial momentum and expanded by leaps and bounds. Our commitment to creating a diverse learning environment that maximizes opportunities for everyone has never wavered. Without our stakeholders, who not only include our students, but also our partners and all our collaborators, the institution would not have been able to do what it has. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to everyone in attendance for your ongoing support of Universiti Malaysia Kelantan. I would also like to extend my sincerest congratulations to the Global Entrepreneurship Research and Innovation Center, GARIC, Universiti Malaysia Kelantan, and co-organizer Euromid Academy of Business and Technology, Turkey, Universiti Malaysia Sabah, UMS, Universiti Sultan Azlan Shah, USAS, and Universitas Muhammadiyah Riau, UMRI, for organizing this important event, ICEIT 2022. The chosen theme for ICEIT 22, which involves entrepreneurship, innovation, and technology, is pertinent to the global agenda. I hope this event has truly benefited us in many ways. I was informed by the organizer that this conference has attracted more than 120 paper submissions from 6 countries: Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, Palestine, Bangladesh, China. Ladies and gentlemen, as the pandemic recedes, countries are now confronted with growing economic repercussions due to inflation and a humanitarian crisis due to food shortage and warfare. We now have a higher need to achieve more with our current resources, a requirement that can be satisfied through innovation. Numerous industries have actively exploited technology integration to choose and refine the technologies used in various processes and in the development of new goods. It is important to note that when engaging in creative endeavor, a vast amount of information is required for market scenario assessments, new technological advances, technical support, and government promotion efforts. Technology is seen as one of the most essential components, and it has frequently been viewed as a function of innovation in generating new products and meeting market demands. It is indisputable that the integration of technology has over the years played a vital function, but in the last 10 years, this role has taken on a significantly more crucial and difficult nature for obvious reasons. In particular, the number of technologies available to researchers to choose from in order to accomplish their work has seen a significant increase. For example, developments in chemistry, computer technology, electronic sciences, and material sciences mean that the technological foundation of a lot of different businesses are shifting quickly and in ways that are difficult to anticipate. In addition to this, the range of available technologies for any given product has significantly expanded across a variety of different industries. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that today's topic will highlight the importance of technological advancements and their role in shaping business, culture, and the economy. As a result, this conference provides a forum for academics, researchers, industries, and practitioners to share and discuss cutting-edge findings related to innovations, current application, and long-term solutions to societal challenges and business problems in the context of a globalized economy. Before I conclude, once again, I would like to congratulate all the agencies and institutions for organizing this conference. This collaborative effort, I must say, is very commendable and should be continued in the near future. Shabas to all participants, thank you for committing your time and energy toward this conference. I wish all of you the best and fruitful discussion. I am looking forward to hear the result and solution of this conference. With the name of Allah SWT, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, I hereby declare the International Conference on Entrepreneurship, Innovation and Technology, ICEIT 2022, officially open. I end my speech with Wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Razli, for a meaningful speech and officiating for first ICEIT 2022. University Malaysia Kelantan, through the Global Entrepreneurship Research and Innovation Center GARIC, is hosting the first international conference on entrepreneurship, innovation and technology ICEIT 2022. This conference is considered as one of the GARIC virtual conference series that is conducted virtually from 25th until 26 October 2022 via Zoom platform. First ICEIT 2022 welcome empirical research, concept papers, and case studies. This conference encourages scholars to share their qualitative and qualitative research. Additionally, all papers are accepted through a rigorous double-blind peer review process and will be published in conference proceedings indexed by ISI Proceedings, Scopus, and Google Scholar. This conference aims to be an excellent platform for knowledge exchange between academic researchers, sharing experience and research findings, specifically in the social science field. Prospective authors are invited to submit a full paper which is described in original words on all aspects of the related field. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to explain a little bit about GARIC. GARIC is an entrepreneurship center of excellence at University Malaysia Kelantan UMK. Through GARIC, we empower our ecosystem members to be driven of change through high-impact enterprise research and generation of innovative insight. We prepare our community to maximize the upsides of the same-sex change happening in the world. Informed by our full awareness that those who produce knowledge are not usually those who need knowledge, we devised several channels to disseminate our insight: social media posts, blog posts, newsletter, special industry publication, and academic journals. We also organize innovation summits and case study conference for sharing our learning and helping the world get smart. Ladies and gentlemen, our first ICEIT 2022 is now officially started. We will continue this virtual conference with our keynote speech session. Our keynote speech will begin by Engineer Novin bin Tajuddin, Chief Executive Officer, the Malaysia Institute of Certified Public Accountant (MICPA. This session will be moderated by Associate Professor Dr. Nurul Awin binti Mat Nasir. Please welcome.
Ya, Assalamualaikum. Assalamualaikum and good morning everyone. Okay, can I hear Mr. Novi here? Okay, Mr. Novi, you need to switch on the mic. So I can see you smile, but
Yes,
I cannot hear
yes,
your voice.
I'm putting up my screen. I hope you can see the screen of our presentation.
I'm good. Everything is good, Mr. Novi.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So can we start?
Yeah, sure.
Assalamualaikum and good day to our respected audience, especially to Mr. Novi Tajuddin, our speaker this morning. So first of all, I would like to welcome all respected audience of the first International Conference of Entrepreneurship, Innovation and Technology, ICEIT 2022. Welcome everyone, and I hope all of you are in a good health. Thank you for joining us at ICEIT 2002. My name is Nurul Azwin and I will be the moderator for this session. Together with me this morning is Mr. Novi Tajuddin, and together we have selected an interesting topic to be shared among all audience. The topic that we have shared that will be presented by Mr. Novi this morning is embracing the full potential of technology in the new accounting age. Before Mr. Novi proceed with the title and presentation, okay, I would like to give a brief introduction of our beloved speaker, Mr. Novi Tajuddin. Mr. Novi Tajuddin has been the CEO of the Malaysian Institute of Certified Public Accountant, MICPA, since 2018 and brought with him a wealth of experience in the education industry and commercial. Before MICPA, Novi served as the COO of Education Malaysia Global Services, EMGS, an agency under the Ministry of Higher Education, and as a director of Strategy and Engagement for Yayasan Peneraju, an agency under the Prime Minister Office. Novi has been appointed as Education Committee member of MARA since 2020 and has also recently been conferred as adjunct professor of UNITA International University. On the commercial sides, he used to be the regional CFO of Geotronics of Southeast Asia countries, Asia Pacific. So I'm sorry again. On the commercial side, he used to be the regional CFO of Geotronic Asia Pacific and Japan, a Dutch company, which oversaw operations globally, including Southeast Asia countries, India, Taiwan, Korea, and Japan. He held key positions in various entities, such as Beam Consulting, Japanese company, the IA Group, Mimos Berhad, and Board of Director of Technology Park Malaysia, from 2017 to 2020. He holds a Bachelor in Accounting and Finance from De Montfort University, Leicester, UK, and is a member of Malaysian Institute of Accountants and also a fellow member of Chartered Institute of Management Accountants. With over 26 years of experience in general management, accounting and finance, operations, business development, strategic planning and strategic engagement, and also in IT, consulting and outsourcing industry, Mr. Novi is well versed in the area of planning, strategy, engagement, business process, financial planning and analysis, accounting, HR and payroll outsourcing. Novi also brings unique composition of experience in multinationals and local conglomerates. So, Mr. Novi,
Yes. Can you hear me
how are you?
loud and clear?
Yeah, I can hear you, Mr. Novi. How are you this morning?
Good, good. Alhamdulillah. Everything is fine.
So, Mr. Novi, are you comfortable with me sharing your slide, or you would like to share your own slide?
I can control. You can. Oh yeah, I can see that the slide is up now. So just what do I need to do now? Yeah, 1 second. Just give me a minute. Maybe I just need to do this. Now it's full screen, right?
It is.
It is already full screen.
It is full screen.
Oh, maybe a bit slow on my side. I can't see. Okay, now.
Because from my side, I can see it's not presenting yet. It is on slideshow, Mr. Novi.
Just give me. Is it up now?
It is still on slideshow on my screen. Let me ask my.
Oh, can you control from your side?
Of course,
If
I
that's
can
the
control
case.
from my side as well.
Yeah, okay, maybe you can just.
Okay.
Do I need to stop my screen or how?
You can still try to. Okay, Mr. Novi, can you try to control your slide again? Because okay, there's a button of share slide in the PowerPoint.
Yeah, that's what I have done. What I have now in front of me is show as stop screen.
Okay.
So meaning that I've already shared. So I was wondering.
Let me try. Okay, the technical team is helping me here. Okay, but
Maybe
that's
I need to
okay.
stop screen. Maybe I need to stop screen first, then you can control from my slide, or is it that you're going to upload from your side?
We have, yeah, okay, now it's on full screen now. Mr. Novi,
Oh,
can you see it from your screen? Yeah, we try to
yeah,
change it.
yeah, yeah. This one is controlled by me or
Okay,
controlled by your side?
it is controlled by our side. It's controlled by our
Ah,
side from the technical team. So,
okay,
Mr. Novi, the floor is yours.
okay,
Just tell us when we need to change the
all right,
slide if you need to. So,
okay.
all on you, Mr. Novi. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Awin. Thank you to UMK for inviting me today to become the speaker. I think the first speaker for the conference. Alhamdulillah, my name is Novi, as already introduced by Prof. Dr. Azwin just now. I think the topic today that we're going to talk about is about embracing the full potential of technology in the new accounting age. Because nowadays, if you realize that quite a number of times and majority of the time that people are so worried in terms of the future that will take over the current situation that we are facing. So I think today I'm going to touch more about how we actually take advantage of the technology at the same time to also prepare ourselves in terms of facing the technology and blend it with whatever it is as an accountant and in doing this during this era. So I think next slide, please. So I bring up everyone's attention to that people are clear about what is the industry revolution 4.0. I think this is where we are talking about the movement in terms of revolution in the past. Yeah, we can see that industry 1.0 moved to the industry 4.0, and then where we are today, in which there's a lot of revolution. That's what we call it. It's a revolution in which whatever that happened to us today, it is not something new. It has happened in this world many years ago. You can see from the years stated there at the bottom, it was even 1784, moved to 1870, 1969, until today. So this world and all of us as humans actually have gone through a lot of revolution. So this is not something that make us feel so difficult and feel scared about it. So what we need to do is just to prepare ourselves to make sure that we are ready. I think this is a key message that I have today in terms of the topic, in terms of embracing the full potential of technology. So take advantage of the technology that we have today in the new era. So next slide, please. All right. So I also touched about what is Web 4.0. So all of us are clear about Web 4.0, that how it moves because from the PC era in 1980 to 1990, and web technology started, and then we have a World Wide Web, and then we have social web. So in which now we are going through all these Web 4.0, in which all these are technology that actually controlling the way we work, even during the communication. I still remember when I first started working in 1994 or 93, where I worked with this company called SAP, the giant software house, in which at that time, I can see that we have an intranet that among us, all the subsidiaries in the world will be able to communicate, will be able to talk and also send emails and so forth. And more freely. Of course, there's an email, but that one I'll touch later, because I still remember when in 1992, when I was a student in UK, that was the first email that I sent out to my lecturers. You know, I was so happy, and I can see that's something that I can send out. I don't no longer need to use aerogram. I'm not sure the students today are aware about what is aerogram is all about. Aerogram is like, you know, the envelope that you just fold it, you write something, send to your parents, send to your friends, you know. So that's what we did last time. Or we can even send nice postcards. So I think without, that is hard copies, okay? So then when we have email, so this is the development of the technology that we take advantage that I'm trying to share. Next slide, please. The next slide is about how the Industry Revolution 4.0 connects with the Web 4.0. I did mention about the intranet. I did mention this about Jaring was one of the earliest when the government wanted to boost all the usage of the internet in Malaysia. Yeah, that was a long time ago. And this is what it is all about. Yeah. And then, okay, next slide, please. So I'm going to touch more on the IR 4.0 components. So this is some background so that all of us are aware about what is it happening. If you look at the circle, you can see that because of the pandemic, I put there, it accelerates this. It accelerates all these things. Because before this, it was quite slow. I would say it's quite slow in terms of technology utilization. People are just using PC, people are just using system a bit here and there. But when pandemic hits the country or hit the world, you can see a lot of things that's coming out. We talk about simulation, we talk about system integration, Internet of Things, cybersecurity, and big data and autonomous robot, yeah, the RPA and so forth. So this thing actually has been accelerated because of the pandemic. And we actually, as a human, we take advantage of all these things. You must be wondering why I share this, so that you can actually have some backgrounds in terms of what the topic that I'm going to touch about. Next slide, please. It's all about, this is about autonomous robot, how it works about autonomous robot. Yeah, I just want to share with all of you what is it. And then next slide, please. Then we use, they call this simulation. Yeah. So that you want to do the test of your car, you have to crash the real car, you can use the simulation. Yeah. So it's all, they call it like digital twin. So you can actually test and see whether it's working or not and so forth. So there are more. The next slide, please. So IoT, that I think we saw this in the, even during the James Bond movie and so forth. There's a lot of impressive equipments that have been used. So I think now with this IoT, there are a lot of things that people can put in place. A smart house, yeah. Last time people used to say smart car, right? But now these all cars are smart also, yeah. So there are a lot of things that you can actually connect with your car. And then now it's a smart home that you have actually have Internet of Things. Even at the office, you can even get CCTV. You can actually get control. You can check from your handphone. I think this is part of the IoT that we are talking about. Yeah. Next slide, please. I'm just running around to show our cloud computing and how people do the server in terms of, last time we used to have a server farm. Now we don't have server farm. We have all these things like where we capture the data on the cloud. Yeah. Next slide, please. Additive manufacturing. Yeah. All these things are everything are advanced in terms of in the manufacturing area, so that these machines obviously is taking over humans. But I will touch later on what is it that that we as a human need to take advantage on. And then the augmented reality, next slide please, that combines the real world that we currently live in with the virtual elements. So there are a lot of things that's happening around us nowadays, yeah, and especially during the pandemic, and a lot of things that evolve from what we have been doing. So let's go to the next slide. So this is where we need to be able to have and understand what is the future skills, the applications. Next slide, please. The applications and what's the reality that we are facing now. So if you look at this slide, we can see that efficiency in reporting and analysis for better decision making. This is all about data visualization, in which that we are using tools like Power BI, Tableau, and all these things are important for accountants and even any management, because the informations are more accurate rather than in the past. For example, people go out and then get information, just a raw data like that manually. You are actually missing out certain elements and certain segments. So, for example, here I put there at the bottom example that how Mara did for MRSM, identifying the outreach to the students or parents who are actually the underprivileged parents. We can even know on the Power BI by saying that how many people actually apply, and how many people actually coming from the urban area or rural area. So when we look at the data, it is actually, they are more in urban areas. So meaning the objective has not met. So we said, okay, let's do more. We have to do more. And then we have to outreach to the right and more underprivileged people. So that's where this is very important, so that the data can be visualized and much clearer even to the decision maker. Right? I put there also Getronic business controlling function. When I was working last time, I was saying that we were only based on financial system, but now with a good information, the data collection information, you'll be able to get the information about what actually happened in respective subsidiaries, why the profit margin dropped, why the sales increase for this another subsidiary. So you can actually analyze better and more efficiently. Yeah. Okay, next slide, please. In order to prepare yourself, you need to understand what is the skill sets that you need. If you look at this slide, example of skill sets, they are more on the data, store data, source data, and this is a skill set for data, which is very key and important nowadays. Without us knowing that, we thought that, we don't need this. In fact, you need. And I believe, especially myself, I consider myself as a Gen X compared to some people who are actually Gen Y, is much younger, or maybe the older one, baby boomers. Yeah. So maybe baby boomers, some of baby boomers are not comfortable. Even Gen X like me, some of them who have not exposed enough, they are actually very afraid of the technology. They are very afraid of the computerization. They're very afraid of all this, until to the extent they say they want to quit the job. So I think it is for us to be open in terms of what we want to learn, what we want to know, what we want to do. If we are not, I think we need to revisit and take a step back and understand what we want to do and so forth. Otherwise, you're not going to be productive. I'm very open about it. So I think not just, some people say, I'm not very, very good in terms of using my phone, in terms of how to go to the Facebook. Facebook is considered old to the young generation. I think the students here, they will say that, no, we are not on Facebook. I don't know Facebook. I only know Instagram. And maybe now I know TikTok, There are a lot of other apps that they are on. So these are the era of the kids that we have today, and the generation of the not just millennials, but alpha as well, in terms of coming up and catching up with all this. So people like us who are in the market today need to be able to have all these skill sets, need to be able to learn, unlearn and relearn as well. I'll touch about it later. Next slide, please. This is some examples to show that, last time when we look at the newspaper, the hiring is just like, okay, bring your CV, what do you want, what's your degree or master, whatever, professional qualification. Now they put very specifically about cognos controller, enterprise planning. And what job is that? Financial analyst or software application. So they need to use the software applications and in order for you to do the analysis. So I think they did mention there some required skill, which it could be an advantage for today's job. Next slide, please. Also another example in terms of what kind of things that you actually need. Yeah. So there are a lot of things that companies are putting up in terms of the example. Yeah. So these are Python. They never come across our head before, right? So next slide, please. In this slide, the next slide is showing that how the accounting in the past that people prepare in the book, and now on the left side is the old way, on the right side is the new way. I put SAP because it's just one of the advanced software house in the world. So you can see how it is done in a way of capturing the data. Can you see at the bottom left there? This is how the transaction being captured in the book or ledger book in the past is handwritten. It is a book, and compared to what we have on the right, is very sophisticated in the system. And some of you, I'm not sure whether the young ones know what is it in the middle there. I don't know. I call it chapua. So when I was young, I went to the grocery shop to buy some biscuits, right? It's not even in kilo, in kati they call it. There's no metric system at that time. And this Uncle Lim will just use this chapuan to calculate. This is for the youngsters, that is exactly the calculator at the grocery shop. They call it chapuan. So, you know, they just calculate using that. I don't know, but they just move the beans there in the chapuan, and then count about how much is it that cost you. Yeah. So I think this is the old and new that that has emerged, and we are very advanced today. Next slide, please. All right. I think the accounting leaders, if you look at this, there are many, and then there are many rounds of accounting leaders. You look at it, like you have accountants, financial accountant, government accountant, lecturers, and finance manager, and so forth, chief operating officer, chief risk officer, and so forth. But the question is, are this group of people ready about the technology? So I think this is key today. That is a disruption that actually happening in the world today in terms of the transition from the old generation to the new generation, and then how we embrace the technology. And this is very related to the topic that we are talking today. Yeah. Next slide, please. And if you look at this, the two top of mind of the CFO, because if you look at the role of the CFO or the finance today, it is no longer you are just doing numbers. It is no longer that you are doing just the accounting entries or matters or related to just accounting reports and so forth. But it is the role where quite a number that IT department also report to the CFO. And even all strategic IT decisions are also made by CFO. Some companies may have a chief technology officer, but some companies, they don't. So they just have CEO, COO, chief sales officer, chief strategy officer, and the CFO. And the CFO is actually looking after all IT related matters as well. So, and then on the right side, if you see the three key technology statistics that we need to know, two. Why do businesses invest in new technologies? Because as a finance person, we need to see, because of to replace the end of life hardware, maybe the old machine to change to the new machine, and then they include and embed all the new applications and new technologies inside. And then they also refresh cycles, reinforce business growth. I think this is the most important in business. People want to do new things because they want to reinforce their business growth, because they want to see more revenue, more profits that the company is making. Yeah. And at the bottom there, you can see which technologies that on top of the CIO's wish list. You can see it's the artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, RPA. I think RPA is the one that will be taking over the operational part of the work. If it's relating to finance as well, and it is, but not as soon in Malaysia, if I may say, because we have about 900,000 approximately the SME, the small, medium, and enterprise in Malaysia. But the movement of technology in the SMEs are not as advanced as the big organizations. So I believe it will take time. I'm not sure about the time frame, but it will take time in terms of to advance to the next stage. So, but at the same time, all these small companies, small, medium enterprise, they are also using some simple accounting software in which that they use it to capture all the information and data of the businesses that they have day to day. So I think RPA is happening normally for the big organization. I know one American-based company, Shared Services here, they have implemented the RPA in terms of capturing the information and data at the transactional level. Yeah? Okay, next slide, please. All right, it is a challenge by CFO when it comes to technology. So as accountant, you need to know there are challenges in terms of the method I mentioned below, functions that are most severely impacted by the IT talent shortage, in which they got 64% on operations, 36% on finance, 36% on IT. And then also on the right side, the perceived challenges of moving to the cloud in terms of people will say, is it secure? You know, that's where the data security came on the top with 69%. and is it safe in terms of privacy? So they have a privacy concerns. So that's why some of the organizations they are really like on off. They don't know whether they want to continue doing it or not because they are afraid of all these things. That's why later I will touch on what is it that we need to do to ensure that we have lesser challenges. And if majority of us have gone through that, I believe that it will be a smooth sailing activity. Next slide, please. So this slide is actually the challenges faced by accountants. You look at it, some accountants are not IT savvy that I mentioned earlier. So this is going to be difficult. So because if you are managing a few, if you are in the finance department, say example, you are in a big finance team, like you won't be surprised that organization yang big like CIMB Group or Maybank Group, they have a few hundreds of their finance team alone. Okay, so in managing this team, they need to know that some of the staff need to be IT savvy or not. So those with non-IT savvy will have difficulties with through this journey, and then that's where the change management has to come into the picture, because quite a number of this particular group will actually have resistance to change. So we need to tell them and educate them in terms of the value, in terms of what is the advantage of using the system and so forth. Yeah. And then because of the new knowledge, learn new things, we have to provide the training as well, so that people are actually more comfortable and do what and understand what they need to do. Yeah. And then how the system can interconnect of all the departments and how it can be used and leveraged with all the departments with the financial information. Yeah. Sometimes, like for example, you can actually be smart about it. Like certain reports that you have come up with, it is assigned specifically for certain and specific departments. So you don't need to actually email out to them and so forth. They can actually have access. If the system is very good, they can actually have access to the report that they need to know on a monthly basis, for example. And this has to go through the process re-engineering in the organization. So the finance team actually need to know what is the best practices so that you can actually implement in the organization. And of course, this also relating to the new culture, the way of working, because it is not going to be the same. I give a simple example, like what we have gone through during the pandemic. We all work from home, and then after now it's coming to endemic, we actually, some of us still have to come back to office just because of what? Because the leaders felt that you need to be in the office. But if you ask me, my personal view is that I don't mind, because to me, we can still continue working from home if we are productive. So we need to be open about it. It doesn't mean that when the pandemic is over, that we need to be 100% in the office. So I that's my personal opinion. I know quite a number of leaders will not agree with me, but this is what I'm saying in terms of how we create the future space of work. As long as if you can actually strike the balance in terms of working from home and also working from the office. For me, for example, I still come to the office, but there are times that I actually work from home. So for my team as well, we actually still practicing 50-50, so that people are still working from home. They'll be divided into two groups. One group is working from home, another group working from the office. So we will take turns, and then I think we are working well. So in any situation, if I were to have a meeting with all the staff, we can always call everyone to the office. So to me, it is the flexibility of how you do things, as long as you can deliver the work well. So new business model and many more things. Yeah. Next slide, please. How do we prepare ourselves? I think this is the most important part. Yeah. In terms of embracing the full potential of technology, we need to prepare ourselves. We need to adopt and utilize digital technologies. You can see that technology that relating to IoT, blockchain, AI, and so forth, cloud computing. Yeah. So that, and then all these things are actually you need to adopt and utilize it. So we need to prepare ourselves in this area. Next slide, please. If you look at this, I did mention some of the points just now. The cultural and behavioral challenges is the top, because digitalization is also about culture change and human capabilities, because people are afraid, lack of understanding the digital trends, lack of talent for digital. So I think we need to be able to tackle all these challenges so that you are ready and prepared. Yeah. And then another area, how do we prepare ourselves? Next slide, please. You can see this slide. It mentioned about the cycle in terms of next slide, please. Is it there? Yeah. So you can see. Oops. Stop moving. Is it? Yeah. Okay. So this is where we talk about transformations. If you look at the bottom there, right? Refreeze, unfreeze, and change. Yeah. So unfreeze, change, and then you refreeze. This is the Lewin's theory of change, in which that you must understand you need to do the upskilling and also reskilling. So upskilling is actually you want to ensure that you develop your stuff. And then the reskilling is whenever you think that whatever that what the department has been doing in the past is no longer practical and relevant, you may want to close that department and take the team to reskill to do other things that is more relevant. I think it is a very big decision by any leader, so that you need to make sure that everyone is working well, and then have to go through this process. So they have to be, you need to educate them in terms of the values and so forth. Next slide, please. All right, next slide is also about how we prepare ourselves. You can see I did touch about reskill, I touched about upskill, and then you need to be more dynamic. I talked about flexibility just now, and then embrace the new ideas. You need to be more open in terms of new ideas and so forth. And of course, the adaptability. All these things will not happen if you don't have a positive mental attitude, meaning that you cannot be too negative about changes. You cannot be saying that because you are complacent, you've been doing work for many years, hunting years, doing the same thing all over again and again, then suddenly you need to change it. That is part that is very difficult for you to embrace technology. So that's why you need to click your head, make sure it is positive, then you go through all these activities, then I believe it will be successful. Yeah. Next slide, please. All right. How do we prepare ourselves? If you look at this, we have to embrace and promote change and be consumer-oriented, embrace design thinking, experiment. Meaning we have to test and do the experiment in terms of scenario planning, and then we will do the learning and improve the process. So I think this is how, as a leader or the CFO of the finance team, you can encourage and also reward the innovation. So there are a lot of things, and of course, engagement and communicate and collaborate, talk to them more and understand. So that's where you can actually embrace technology to the fullest that you can for the sake of organization. Yeah. And then on the left side, you mentioned about the World Economic Forum that estimate about 75 million jobs will be displaced by a shift in the division of labor between human and machine. But 133 million new roles may emerge, so that is something new that will happen. So not to worry. Next slide, please. All right, this is about what I mentioned about the future of work. EY came up with this during the pandemic, that there is a gig economy that's going to happen. That's where the freelancer, the Grab food, and so forth. And then the second stage or second wave of the future of work will be artificial intelligence and robotics, where the machine economy, in which human labor displaced and supplemented by machines. So that is the part. Next slide, please. And yeah, I already mentioned about the gig economy and the machine economy. So next slide, please. So you look at the disruptors. The 7 disruptors that this one from Deloitte when they came up about it. So it is still, they foresee this to happen in future, and then it happened already and it's happening. So technology is everywhere, the tsunami of data, change nature of a career. There are a lot of things that we need to revisit and see how we can realign about the current work and things that we are doing today. Yeah. Okay. So next slide, please. And in the recent World Economic Forum, they came out with the report that these are the top 10 skills in 2025. So they foresee in 3 years down the road, these are the areas of skills in 2025. And majority are talking about technology and interpersonal skills or people skill like complex problem solving, critical thinking and analysis, creativity, originality and initiative, leadership and social influence, and the rest are all the technology, right? So, and they're saying that 50% of all employees will need to reskill themselves by 2025. All right, next slide, please. And in terms of areas that technology is likely to be adopted by 2025 by the Job Survey 2020 World Economic Forum, cloud computing, I think the top 5, cloud computing, big data, Internet of Things, encryption and cybersecurity, and artificial intelligence. These are the top 5 that technology is likely to be adopted by 2025. Yeah, so we need to prepare ourselves. So next slide, please. So this slide is very important. I would like to highlight to all the audience. If you look at this, we divide it into 3: strategic, tactical, and operational. So majority of what robots will take over is actually the one that I circle in red, the structured one, the transaction processing and the operational management. Mainly will be taken over by the robots, but then or the machines. But then the tactical side and the strategic side, normally you will still need a human intervention. Yeah. So quite a number of people ask me whether accountants are still needed in the future or not. To me, this is the part. This is the part that I mentioned that in the World Economic Forum report last time they mentioned that they no longer needed accountants. I think it is too broad, too generic statement in which they didn't elaborate. To me, this is what it should be. It should be elaborated in this slide. It should be elaborated that the one that will be taken over is just the one that's structured. Same goes to the factory. Those people who used to work in the factory, to fix things, now people are using robots, even like fixing cars or manufacturing cars. So people are using robots nowadays instead of humans. Yeah. Okay. Next slide, please. Yeah, this one is the impact on society and impact on business and how the jobs will be impacted, and then also to see how the fairness of AI system, which cannot be simultaneously satisfied. There are a lot of areas that still need human intervention. The next slide, please. The next slide, I just want to bring the impact on individual and also and ask ourselves, how do we prepare and thrive to suit the AI era? I think this is key. As I mentioned earlier, how do we prepare ourselves? Yeah. And then the conclusion of this, I highlighted in red because AI can show us things, but we need humans to identify what we do about it. When organizations make assertions about algorithm, the role of humans will be to test those assertions to ensure the algorithm does what they asserted it did. Software code is not infallible. Mistakes can happen and on a fast scale. So for us as accountants and humans, we are in the box seat to continue to act as trusted advisors, to interrogate the systems and processes. Yeah. So to look into the area of acquisition, management, analysis, and disposal of information. So I don't think machine can do that. Maybe they can, but still it is programmed by humans. So I think this is the conclusion of what I want to say about my presentation today. And next slide, please. Back in 2019, our MIPA council member, Rozaini Muhammad Sani, who's also now the Johor Corp CFO, he wrote something in the Sun newspaper. He mentioned about accountants must rise up to stay relevant in the digital economy, accountants of the future. If you look at the gist of things that he wrote, he mentioned about accountants become change agent in the transformation of mindsets. We need to collaborate with CIOs in governance and project selection. So we also have input in terms of what we want to do with technology. We measure success and value realization, communicate the lessons learned from what we have implemented. We engage others and be consumer-oriented in addressing issues, recommend digital solutions, and collaborate in digital initiatives. And lastly, be a trustworthy custodian of financial data, the single source of truth. Accountants will be trusted advisors to facilitate human decision-making. I think this is very key and important for us to embrace the full potential of technology in the new accounting age, in which that we as accountants, actually one of the key people in the organization, in making big decisions or making decisions. I think that is my last slide, but I just want to touch a bit. My next slide, please. Yeah, this one I just want to talk about 1 minute about MICPA. So if any one of you are not sure about what MICPA is all about, the one page is in 1958 we were established, and a founding member of ICEIT. We have a collaboration with CNZ for the past 13 years, and our passing rate is 73%, and you will get dual qualification for this program of MICPA. So I think I'll stop here now to give way to the question and answers. I hope you have, just go to the next slide, or my last slide. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we can address the session. Yeah, thank you. I'll pass to you, Shelby.
Novi.
Yes.
Okay. There's a sound effect problem. Hold on, yeah, Mr. Novi.
Another machine need to be muted.
I think it's good now.
Yeah. A bit echo, but it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, there's an echo there. Okay. Sorry for the technical error. But I guess, okay, now it's fine. Okay, well, Mr. Novi, quite a fruitful and remarkable sharing. I really hope that our audience are grasping all the meaningful sharing from you, because like I said in earlier, that your background and your experience are well versed. So I can see you have captured from being accountant, being CFO, and even being even a part of organization as well. Okay, so a gentle reminder, gentle sharing from us as ICEIT member. If audience have any questions, you can ask by writing your question, or even share your opinion in the comment section of the Facebook. Yeah, but I have a question for you, Mr. Novi. So I know that you have shared information on how CEO, CFO, accountant, or even business owners on how to prepare yourself to the changes due to the technology that comes in. Okay, but then how about the rest of the organization? I mean, the employees or even the customer. Okay, what we deliver, what the business want to offer might not fit what the customer capability. For instance, I have a friend that their parents are not going to dine in at any restaurant anymore because they need to scan the QR code to make order, and they are not ready for that. Okay, and so how can we make sure the transition is smooth to meet our organization need? I mean, we want that, but our customer is not ready, for instance, and we don't want to lose our customer.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think it is not. In my opinion, is that the restaurant shouldn't be restricting just by using QR code. You know, they should open it up, because at the end of the day, customers are still customers. If the old customers are coming, there should be an exception to the old customers that they can still use the menu, the hard book menu. But maybe it's limited, just one or two or something like that. To make it difficult for them. I do understand, because even like yesterday, for example, I had lunch with my family. I had to order using the QR code, right? So after I ordered using the QR code, then I said, oh my God, I couldn't find the air swam, the warm water. So I said, I want warm water, old man, one more warm water. so the waiter is just saying that, oh, it's okay, sir. I can just get you 2 glasses of warm water, and put it in the bill. No issue at all. Don't make it difficult. That, hey, you please order from the QR code. Please go and order. So don't make it difficult to the customers. Be smart about it. To me, is how you tackle the situation. That is key. Other than strictly follow. Oh, QR code. You must follow QR code. That's my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, I believe that so. So
Transition, the tengah provision is a transition. So you need to slowly do the changes. It is not something that abruptly you do it. You can, but that will be an impact. Like you said just now, your friend's parents will not want to go to the restaurant anymore.
To that particular restaurant, maybe they will go to other restaurant then.
Yeah, we will go to other restaurant. You're right. Yeah.
So with us, Mr. Novi, our audience consists of students, academics, entrepreneurs as well, and we are here, and they are keen to join in many type of business or industry, even.
Right.
Nevertheless, the changes of technology somehow make the financial recording processes changes as well. And we know, like you mentioned, not all business owner know accounting practices, and sometimes they cannot afford to hire accountant as well, or even maybe read the policies or standards that came out from the policymakers. So how do you think that, to your knowledge, what technology or system that can give them the basic kickstart to ensure that they are on the right track in terms of managing accounting practices?
Yeah, I do understand that. Thank you. So I think it goes back to when I was doing outsourcing of accounting work. See,
Outsourcing.
So any entrepreneur or businessman, they are focusing on their business. I think that is the core area, or the core value of the business that you're doing. Whereas the accounting recording, the accounting support, this is not your core. This is a support of your business. What you do is just outsource it, especially in the SMEs. You don't even need, unless one day you have grown to a very big organization, you think that you want to have a good finance team, that's different. But at the beginning, I would suggest that you outsource the accounting work, and to make it much sophisticated sikit lah kan, sophisticated sikit. You find the outsourcing practice that actually using a simple system which is web-based. So meaning that whatever the information or data that you have provided to the accounting outsourcing party, they update it every month. They should come up with a financial report every month in terms of P&L, in terms of revenue, sales, and also in terms of cash. So you will be able to look from your handphone, right? You just like, oh, I can just see, from my handphone. I think that is the way you to do it for the SMEs. Yeah, stop there.
Okay, outsource is one of the way.
Yeah.
That is good advice, I believe, for many of us. And Mr. Novi, currently we have 2 questions in the chat box. I'll read from the first one, that is from Norshela Chenawi. She asks, Mr. Novi, cybersecurity is one of the biggest issue when dealing with technology. And for accountant, it is the main reason many of them are reluctant to use it. So what's your point on that?
Thanks, no, Sheila. I think we need to understand what does the cybersecurity, what is it, the technology that actually being offered to you. So meaning that in terms of the security, so you need to understand the features of that security. So how do they do it? How do they provide that technology to you? Especially when you are actually on the software as a service, right? The SaaS, the SaaS. Then they say that everything is actually parked at the cloud. When it is parked at the cloud, so you need to understand and ask them, what is the security element that you have actually put in place? Is there a firewall? Is there anything backup? Whatever, and then what about the password? Is there anything else that people actually impose to you that you can actually use to make yourself comfortable? If you're not comfortable, I think it's not easy for you to move, because to a certain extent, you need to have a level of trust. At the same time, after you have measured the element of security that they have actually done with the services that they are offering to you. If they are offering you services and without any security, I think then it's okay to back off. But if they have actually put in place certain security levels, I believe that is the you need to be able to trust and move forward with it. Because I remember when I was in the outsourcing industry, I remember that there's one client in the Philippines. They actually do not want us to have any data that we keying in whatsoever. Even like macam the CPU itself, we have to take out certain things that because they just want us to hook with their system to the extent. So meaning the PC though at that time is that it's a bit empty, it's not complete, because it's just to access, because they do not want us to have even to record even the thumb drive, not attack or whatever, to the extent. So but time goes by, that was like 15 years ago. So time goes by, there are a lot of security elements that people put in place and they do the offering to you. I think that's my advice. Otherwise, you will never move forward with the technology.
So does it become difficult for you when the firm, I mean, because you said about things about trust, so they are not trusting
very
you?
flexible, because it's humans, right? And it depends on individual. Maybe when you talk to Dr. Azwin, people say, oh, okay, I trust her. When we talk to Novi, I don't trust Novi, I don't want. So something like that. So it is depend on, it's very subjective, but my advice is please consider the elements of security that have been put in place when people do the offering. Then you assess it. As long as you are satisfied and you're happy with it, you can proceed. Yeah.
Okay. So we move to the next question from the chat box from Hana Yasmin. Mr. Novi, do accountants nowadays need to diversify their skills?
Yes, Hannah, thank you. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, you need to be more colorful rather than square. So people always say accountants are square. So we need to be able to diversify our skills, because even at the end of the day, one day you don't even want to become a CEO, or you don't even want to become a C-suite or CFO, but you need to have the diversified skills. One of them is you need to know about the topic today. We talk about the technology. We need to be able to accept the technology. And then the skills that accountants have is not just technical skills, but we have to have any other skills like business, how to deal with people and how we deal with human beings. I think, and especially the leadership side of it. But I think accountants need to be able to make sense of things that they want to decide. For example, I give you a simple example. I know budget is already approved about 2,000 ringgit, for example, right? And then because the debt department has already burst their budget, you cannot proceed. But if that budget allocated is actually relating to the cost of sales, where somebody is actually coming in to put more business, you shouldn't be limiting yourself to just the budget amount allocated. You need to be able to actually make an exception. So you bring up to the management and make a business decision so that it's actually good for the business. So I think that is the important things among the skills that the accountants need to have today. Yeah.
Okay.
I hope I answered the question.
So it's not It used to be that accountant has to be mathematics. You can do, if you're good with mathematics and maths, for instance, then you're gonna be good in doing
Ah,
accountancy sector, right? But that's no more today.
no, no, no. I think it's an added advantage. But when we learn accounting, right, it is more in terms of principle of accounts. How do you deal with the accounts? And maths is one, of course, in terms of calculation. And majority of the things they calculate using the calculator. So then, I
Yes,
think,
and
yeah.
system are
And
doing
then
it for you.
the system will handle it as well, right? So if system has handled it, so you need another skills, that the analytical skills. The
Yes,
questions,
analytics.
with to be suspicious, for example, hey, why this happened? And by looking at the numbers itself in the financial statements, you realize that, hey, there's something wrong in this number. In the past, it was not like this. So you need to be able to interpret and tackle the accounts and the numbers as well. So that's not necessary. You must good in at maths or and so forth. Maths and mathematics modern, all this, you maybe you good at casting there lah. So there are other elements. Even I mentioned just now about humans, in terms of when you make that decision, you need to be able to convey the information and then make them understand what the reason behind things that you are doing and the one you have decided.
Okay. So, with your experience, Mr. Novi, if you can share, what are the potential warning signal? Then, because we have technology with us now, like Nor Sheila mentioned about cyber security, there will be management fraud, financial fraud, accounting fraud. So what are possible warning signal if we own a business, for instance, that you can see that we should look after before we move forwards towards changing the technology we are currently using?
Okay. If you're talking about warning or any signal, you mean signal of what? Any error that actually happened?
Yes, possible error, and that error actually might boleh bukan membunuh diri, tapi but may cause negativity towards ourselves. Like the example that I gave about scanning QR code. But that's that might open things for fraud, wrong order, things like that. And when everything is in the system or software, then people can manipulate the information, things like that. So,
Hmm.
what are
Not.
possible warning signal that you should be aware to? Your advice that people should be aware to.
Okay. I think if we are talking about technology, we're talking about we always talk about the process. I did mention about the process re-engineering meaning that whenever you have the system, there's something that to be in terms of process to trigger the flow. It doesn't mean that you raise the purchase requisition of 1 million, you will get it approved. It has to go through a certain level of approval. So that is where the information will actually flow to the people with the authority. So if there shouldn't be going to somebody else without the authority. So we have to follow the level of authority in the organization. So that's how and then the process is not just like one person to approve. It has to be a few depending on the value of the amount that you requested. So I think that is the control element that we have. For example, like the segregation of duties, right? We learn about segregation of duties. So I think it is important that whenever there is a big amount to approve, maybe a certain amount need to go up to the board or even to the exco or the senior management level. So I think that is how we prevent the fraud or error to happen. Yeah. So I think that's my answer to that. Yeah. Even in the system, normally you will have way to track who actually the good system will actually track who actually raised it, who actually approved it, who actually delegated it, for example. So there is a workflow, right? The workflow that actually shows who actually created and amended and so forth. I think that is the way to control the situation. Yeah.
Okay, I see. So that's good advice. Okay. Oh, we have another question in the chat box, Mr. Novi. So it is from Siti Afika Zainuddin. Mr. Novi, we know that technology is supposed to ease tasks for accountant, especially to the public accountant, but it also replacing some human tasks. How do you think public accountant could remain relevant in conducting the similar tasks? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Prof. So, as I mentioned in my presentation, yeah, there are some tasks that will be replaced by machines, right? But we need to reskill our team members to do something else that related to the nature of the work. So in a way, if that particular task is actually already replaced by the machine, then the person who's doing it must understand that we no longer need to do it because it is already taken over by machine and is more efficient. So we can use those resources to actually do the analysis of the reports that came out from the machine that produced by the machine. So that is important because we do not want the staff or the people who are actually doing the work is actually doing something mundane, something very administrative, and it is going to be more value add type of job for the person to do. So meaning that in the situation that what Prof. Siti Afrika mentioned just now, we have to get the staff to actually check rather than preparing it. So I think this is more a value add task in terms of the role of a public accountant or any accountant's job. Yeah, I hope I answered the question, Prof. Afrika.
Of the organization is very high responsibility, right? Making everyone on the right track, things like that. Okay, there's one more question. Okay, many may find changes are complex, right? Changes are complex changes, especially technology is a fast, very on the fast lane. Nevertheless, it may assist shaping our own career and in the coming future. So what is your advice, Mr. Novi? Your advice to the ICEIT 2022 audience in getting the right skill mix?
Oh, okay. I think every one of us has to see and make an analysis of our own self. Meaning we do our own SWOT analysis. What is our strength? And just use the SW score lah. So we are what is our strength and what are our weaknesses, and we need to see which are the areas that we need to improve. So by understanding yourself, you will be able to improve yourself, because sometimes we felt that we are already good, but actually we are not, because we are only look at our strength. We have not looked at our weaknesses. So, and some of the weaknesses actually can be overcome, and especially when it has to do with the work that you are doing. So this is the area that we need to improve. So coming back to the question just now, by taking into consideration things that from the question from Dr. Awin just now, I think we can shape ourselves. We can chart ourselves in terms of the progress. We can see whether are we good in the interpersonal skills. Are we actually good in technical? Are we good as a leader? Are we good? Because if we are the department head, what is it good for you? Is it because you just have a room by yourself? Is it because you have a bigger room, the biggest room by yourself? It doesn't represent the things that for your future. It is actually yourself, the quality that you need to have in you, that people look at you. And if any of your friends can tell you, Novi, you're actually weak in this area, so you can actually improve in that area. Yeah. So that is actually to make yourself prepared in terms of to face the future, including technology, including dealing with people, including with leadership, including technical. So I think that is my answer to that. Learning is a never end. So you need to always learn to improve yourself. Not necessarily you have to go to universities like UMK, but it means that you yourself have to keep learning and look at things and improve things, especially I always do it myself like that. To me, I always felt that if I go to any organization, I always look at things that I can improve. I can look at things that how can I contribute for the improvement as well. Yeah, I think that's the answer, Prof.
Okay, that is a very good advice, Mr. Novi. Get to know ourselves, and even you yourself, you do the checking
Yeah,
all the time, right? So,
jangan judge bagus, jangan judge bagus.
jangan perasan bagus.
Yang bahasa
Okay.
bagus.
Unfortunately, the time has come to an end, Mr.
Okay.
Novi. We do have a question on chat, but we need to move to the next speaker.
Sure.
So on behalf of ICEIT 2022 Secretariat, I would like to thank you, meeting you, a very humble CEO of NICPA, and I am honored for the session. And like it or not, to conclude, okay, like it or not, we need to prepare ourselves and embrace the full potential of technology in the new accounting age today, right, Mr. Novi? So again, I would like to thank you and hope you have a good day. And I'm not sure if you're having a Deepavali holiday as well or still working.
I'm working here and there. Thank you to UMK and
Okay.
all. Thank you to the audience for listening as well. And sorry if I say anything wrong. Thank you so much.
It's good. Everything is good. Okay, thank you, Mr. Novi. See you,
Yes, Assalamualaikum.
inshallah. Okay, to all audience, with that session, that's the end of the first session. I would like to introduce for the next session with Puan Anja Julia, the Social Impact Director of Athena Holdings Sdn Berhad, and the session will be moderated by Dr. Raihani Zainul, the Director of Aura UMK, for the next keynote session. To you, Dr. Raihani, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you very much, Dr. Azwin, and thank you very much, Mr. Novi, for giving such an informative and comprehensive presentation for the first session. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today and stay with us listening for the next session. Honorable speakers and ladies and gentlemen, I'm Raihani. It gives me a great pleasure to be the moderator for the second session to deeply discuss the current hot topic for roadmap to sustainability, which is solving social entrepreneurship challenges through ESG investing. But before we start, I would like to read a brief introduction to our next keynote speaker. Puan Anja Julia is the leader of the non-profit Chamber of Social Entrepreneur Development, and also she is the Social Impact Director at Athena Holdings Sdn Berhad, that aim to empower girls and provide them with access to school. She's also won many awards for her achievement in social entrepreneurship area. And I would like to extend my heartfelt congratulations on the Commonwealth Points of Light Award in recognition of her exceptional volunteerism and service to the community, especially in educating girls in rural communities on menstrual health. And what made the award even more special is the certificate is signed by the late Queen Elizabeth II as the head of the Commonwealth before her passing. Congratulations, Puan Anja. And then okay, Puan Anja. Okay, I personally believe that we will have a very interesting discussion today, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome Mrs. Anja Julia. Hi, Mrs. Anja. How are you doing? Is it okay?
Yes, good.
Okay. So, Puanja, as we know that social entrepreneurs fighting issues like inequality and the climate crisis often struggle to compete in business. Social entrepreneurship seems like an obvious choice for everyone wanting to make a difference to the world. There is evidence that the business sector is waking up to its social impact that they have to state up, and cannot just live by not doing harm to society, but by being more proactive and doing good. Also, there are now social enterprises seeking to tackle a whole range of issues. So please, Mr. Anja, maybe you can give a short brief about what is actually ESG and how ESG investing could solve the challenges of social entrepreneurship. Please, Puan Anja.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and very good morning. Thank you, Dr. Noor, Dr. Rai, for having me today. Well, maybe we can start share the slide that I sent earlier. Are we able to play the slide? Uh, Sorry, I didn't see the slide. Okay, okay, all right. Sorry, because the screen is all right. Okay. Again, Assalamualaikum and very good morning. I'm Anja, social impact director from Adina Holdings Berhad. We are a social enterprise that produce washable, reusable sanitary products, and mostly our revenue are from retails, but our social missions are to run menstrual hygiene management program to girls, especially from the rural areas as well as orang asli girls. And we also run rural women economic empowerment program. However, I would like to really love to share today's topic how ESG investing can actually help solve the challenges of social entrepreneurships here in Malaysia, particularly. And but prior to that, let me just explain what is social enterprise. Can move to the next slide. Maybe can jump to the next slide. Yes. If you can see here, business is an entity that sell product or services and they make revenue in order to sustain. And next, unlike NGO, on the other hand, next. Okay, they are formed to solve social issues or environment issues. But one thing lack is that they don't have a proper business model, and the activity are based on the um, donations or charity drive that they run. Then only they can conduct the whatever activities that they wish to have. And so it's not so sustained as compared to a proper business model or proper business setup. So where is how or in what ways a business can still make profit, and in the on the same time they can also make an impact to the community or environment. Next. So this is where you can see a social enterprise model is a hybrid business model where it combine both business as well as NGO model, so that not only they can still make profit. For me, the more profit the better, because you can do more. A positive impact, long-term impact to the community or environment. Next. Okay, and before I go further, I just would like to share what's the, we all know about this SDG as well as ESG, and what are the difference? It seems like same, but it's not the same. All right, let me just explain. Next, please. Okay, the UN agenda, Sustainable Development Goal, or all we know is SDG, is UN's agenda for sustainable development, and it has 17 goals to be completed by 2030. Next. No, not next. Uh, back to the earlier slide. Okay, because it's supposed to be in PowerPoint. Never mind. So what's the agenda? The agenda is to transitioning to a new global circular economy where it is more sustainable, As we know today, we take resources, materials from the earth, we take and make, and then we throw. After we use, we throw. But circular economy is more sustainable because once we take, we produce or make, instead of throwing, we remake. So that's the agenda where we want to trans is a transitioning to a new and get us all prepared to this new global circular economy. And how? By creating sustainable economies or universal education and saving water supply. And ESG is a way of investing or assessing companies on their environment, social, and governance performance while also considering financial returns. And today, ESG has become popular with investors who want to invest responsibly while still making profit. Next, therefore, we know that this ESG and sustainable development goals are for a long-term plan. And we know that SDG is like a time bound base. It has about 15 years, and ESG is a method how you can measure the tools to measure the impact. Okay, next. So, what's the challenge? Back to the social enterprises. Definitely, they have challenges, and social enterprises are usually met with two problems. Okay, the first being that a purpose over profit, where the model means many struggles to make money, which is needed to continue operating. However, based on our experience, for Athena, it's not only the business model of social entrepreneurs are weak, nor they are very much focused on the social problems of economic gain, because we cannot like generalize when we talk about social enterprise. There's two types of social enterprise nowadays, not only in Malaysia but globally. One where it is a totally new setup or startup, where we know that normally young people who are passionate to solve social or environment issue, they form a social enterprise. However, there's a trend nowadays where a conventional business model that has operated maybe more than 5, 10, or even 20 years decided to make a switch to um, becoming a social enterprise. I myself have witnessed many current social enterprises. Even Athena, we are among the, we experience from running a conventional business model and switch our business to social enterprise model. But if put ourselves as like normal startup, next slide please. Uh, Low profitability leads to a second issue, which means less profitable businesses are naturally less attractive to investment from venture capitalists or investment fund, right? So these serious investors search for potentially high growth sectors to invest in to maximize the return on their investment further down the road. For startups, investors are an essential part of scaling up your business. So it is true indeed. So the low profitability of social enterprises often means investors are more attracted to low impact and highly profitable companies causing a better to grow. It is very seldom that social enterprises are able to scale and bring their solution to a structural level. This has always been the fundamental flaw stopping social enterprises from having a widespread impact on society. And I must say that if your business doesn't grow, then the impact it makes on society won't be really important. You have to scale not because you are greedy, but because you want to maximize your impact on social. Next, please. So, is ESG investing the solution? Uh, Okay, a shift has taken place in recent years, moving the objective of the investors and social enterprises closer together. ESG criteria, which measure a company's environmental, social, and governance operations, have become an important consideration in investing. Impact investors will now look at the company's ESG performance as well as their profit when choosing where to put their money. And from the recent source that I read, investment in companies ranking highly for ESG trends at 12 trillion US dollars in the US in 2021. That means 38% increase since 2016. So this growth is part of an emphasis of social change within the business community. And if successful, ESG investment could allow social entrepreneurship to have a large-scale impact, moving from supporting small communities to tackling social small pressing issues. And that's entrepreneurship spirit. If it's done well across different areas, there's so much that can be done and is so effective. Next, please. Okay, so in Malaysia, we have such criteria for basic application. I mean, for those who wish to be registered as a social enterprise, they need to fulfill these basic criteria where they need to have a registered business, at least 1 year in operation. They have a very clear social mission, whether they want to support social or environment, as well as they have a clear beneficiaries. So similar like ESG, I mean, how you can turn, not necessarily you run as a social enterprise, but a company, SMEs or micro SMEs, they can do, become socially conscious by applying, this similar to social enterprise model, but maybe not until the part of getting the accreditation. So I just share here what's the basic criteria. So here in Malaysia, we have this, by the Ministry of Entrepreneur Development and Cooperative, Ministry of Entrepreneur and Cooperative Development. Next slide, please. Okay, and so when you fulfill your, the basic requirement, you fulfill all the three minimum criteria, you will be issued this certificates. I'm sharing one of my mentees or my friends, the social enterprise basic certificate. She's from ABS Education about the academy bakat. And so this is where you can gain more support from, at least you can gain trust from the investors who, impact investors who now looking to invest to I mean social enterprises that you can see that they are growing. Next, please. So you can see there are, I'm sharing here the big brands out there. This is like from SCMG. Uh, I mean, uh, no, okay. How these big corporations can support social enterprises if they change the way they make the purchase. I mean, these big brands, we know they are into ESG, to be seen as a um, socially conscious or environment conscious company, and they do wanted to support the community through their ESG, no, through their CSR. Next, please. There are also companies from the oil and gas industries. Uh, I mean that into focusing on ESG. Next, yeah. Um, as well as okay, as well as the hotel industries, where big brands, they too can do support, not only social enterprises as well as micro SMEs or SMEs that is into supporting, I mean, becoming more socially or environment conscious. And next slide, please. So this is what we would like to encourage for the big brands to revisit their supply chains and see in what ways they can replace and to getting the supplies from at least I mean a known social enterprises or a company that into I mean applying or integrating their business model to ESG. And this is what I really encourage most big companies to do. Next slide, please. And we see from the recent budget for 2023, where the government really into providing more support to those to encourage companies especially to move into ESG. Just next slide. These are like more on from my print screen from the internet. Okay, next slide please. So another print screenshot from the internet. Next. So this is the time for us to take action. That I mean, how we all together can be more socially and environment conscious. Next slide, please. So I would like to also share how for Athena, we do have our purpose-led corporate strategy. We would like to become the leader and the most innovative company specialty in feminine hygiene products and services while contributing towards the social and economic development. So this leads to my last slide. Next, please. And how I mean both social enterprises and corporates can join together, and I can see how these small changes can lead to creating bigger impact beyond borders. So that's my sharing for today. I mean, this morning I can. I mean, maybe we can continue with Q&A session.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mrs. Anja. That was a very comprehensive presentation. Okay, let me take some highlighted points from the sessions that you have been presented. So this is what another company do because they see the importance of ESG, especially when they want to make a profit or give some contributions to the countries or their economy of the country. So there are some pro and cons or the issues that need to carefully implemented. Means we need to carefully search or learn from someone about ESG. Cannot when someone is ESG, so everyone into ESG. So we need to know the intentions and also the impact of what we want to do. Okay, so Mrs. Anjad, you have given us so many examples of the company that we also can look at about the ESG and also in the Malaysian budget, importance of ESG. So, ladies and gentlemen, after we know about the comprehensive outlook of ESG and also the social entrepreneurship challenges, now it's time to have a discussion with Mrs. Angel with a few questions and also answer sessions. So we are glad to receive so many questions from the audience. And due to time limitation, we are going to select first three most voted questions first from Mrs. Angel. Now let us see the questions from the audience from the chat box. Okay, let me see. So the first questions from Professor Hassan Muhammad Osman. Okay, this asking about Puan Anja. There is a strong belief that with ESG fully implemented, there will be less CSR funding available to SE. So what is your thought on that? Ranger, we cannot hear your voice.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, Ranger.
Lupa
I
nak.
thought my
Okay.
side is problem. Sorry.
You jawab. Okay, thank you so much, Prof, for your
Okay, thank
questions.
you.
I do agree that I mean, if companies are implementing ESG and it will reduce the funding to SEs, well, we know social enterprises is also a business entity, and I see it's a healthy competition because both SE and SMEs that has integrate ESG moving forward to achieve more sustainable, I mean, to solve providing solutions and to become more sustainable in to I mean social or environment, and so it makes more choices for big companies to either provide funding for the CSR or change their supply chains. I mean, the stakeholders, the suppliers, and considering to pick more the SEs or the other SMEs. And so it's a something good. It's just that social enterprises, in order for them to get, I mean, to be continued known as social enterprise, they have to go through the processes getting them to be accredited. In Malaysia, for time being, we don't have that for companies that integrating to ESG, but it can be done probably in the near future. That there be, I mean, probably MIDEC, I mean, Kuskop will introduce something or acknowledge a company, but definitely I'm not sure how, but I just see it as a healthy competition, and you have to prove, I mean, to provide better services or products to your consumer, as well as be able to show how, in what ways you are contributing to, community or environment. Do I answer your question, Prof?
Okay, for other. So mean the company when SME and SME can involve in this and the company they have more choice. For example, funding, maybe they can use some funds with SE, SME to do this work, right? Okay, I'm really interested when you mentions about accredited SE. So there's no accredited SE either, and I think this is a good moment for us to move forward and do something, especially when mentions about SE and also ESG. Okay, Ponaja, we have another questions. Okay, the second one is from, wow, I think Professor is also admire about you, Ponaja, because they have another question from Professor Muhammad Hassan Muhammad Osman. Okay, the question is, there are concerns from among the basic SE that after Magic no longer looks after the developments of SE accreditations. The entire accreditation process will start to slow down and may ultimately be stopped. So maybe you have your opinion or comment on this one.
Okay. Now I will wear my I was a former uh, president of Chamber of Social Entrepreneur Development, and I'm part of being as a chamber. We are part of the SETCOM that formed by KUSKOP, where it also have other ministries in supporting social enterprise development here in Malaysia. And yes, I agree with Prof, where social enterprises was I can say started way back by Magic, but now it is been passed fully under the Ministry of Entrepreneur and Cooperative Development. And yeah, there's a bit. I mean, you can see there's no active activity, but I believe very soon the ministry will announce and will reopen the application for accreditation, and we've seen that many SE Basics has been approved. So they are now, in the process to get their company accredited, as well as those who have been approved as basic 1 or 2 years ago. And inshallah, I believe that I mean, from my conversation with them, they are supposedly is reopen in October, but I guess maybe due to technical or something. But it will be opening soon. We just have to just wait for the announcement, official announcement.
You are very okay, and then you make a good effort, especially when you want to strengthen the social entrepreneurship ecosystem Malaysia. And we see your achievements, so many achievements in the social entrepreneurship area that you can share and also give a contribution to the community and also the other institutions or organization. And this is very great, especially to our country and to boost our socio-economic also. Okay, Peranjam, there is some criticisms of ESG, and then it is not new. As ESG has grown mainstream and gained support and also traction, it has consistently encountered doubt and criticism as well. Companies already use independent external auditors for financial, operational, cyber, and also worker audits. So the question is whether ESG standard will need to be assessed and monitored by independent third-party accounting or law firms, or whether ESG will be overseen by a global body or by national regulatory organizations. So how do they vet company performance of ESG?
Okay, Dr. Rai, I do agree because we know that, I mean, for some, why SMEs and micro SMEs don't really have interest in educating their business in supporting ESG because they know it's such a big investment. However, currently we definitely for myself representing SMEs, we, I mean, maybe not to the level that we can afford to engage a big consultation firm to help us in auditing the ESG. But I mean, we can start small, just implement internally, and just do maybe start from your own CSR program, or maybe allocate something, whether it's for the benefit of the employee, in what ways the company is also working towards green, uh, I mean, activities, in what ways that they encourage employees to not, I mean, into like waste or something. Um, but I'm pretty sure that there be, I mean, companies or other consultation firm that will able to provide support, because there's a gap there. When where we see a gap, there's an opportunity. So we know that only big companies, big corporations, public sector company afford to appoint any consulting firm, but soon seem like social enterprises, or maybe the government itself will come up with something that to encourage. Why this for me very important for micro SMEs and SMEs to look into this, because especially SMEs that are ready to export their products. This is the best way to having their brand seen. If the buyer search their companies from the website and see how the activities in supporting ESG. So definitely they are way better than their competitors, not only from Malaysia but from the other Southeast Asia or Asia region. Just for for giving an example. So uh, to answer the questions whether how to vet these companies, I have no answer at the moment, but I just encourage SMEs to just uh, learn and understand and apply in whatever their capacity, the current capacity, not necessarily apply as a whole, but at least they have a plan. Maybe they can put it in their strategy for like 5-10 years plan, to in what ways they can also allocate some budget to in supporting ESG. I hope I answer your question.
Yes, what I did, and I agree with you. So let's start small because it's very interesting when we start small so we can grow together. So I'm very interested in your words about how we can start this SG first. Okay, Praja, so we have another questions, okay, from Professor Madya Dr. Noshila Chetlawi. Okay, the question is about Mrs. Anja. Many say that SE is focused on social problem but not on economic fundamental. So what is your view on that?
Sorry, I mean tackling the social issue. The second one.
Yeah, means that they want your view about when the SE is focused on social problem but not at economic fundamental. So
Oh,
what is your comment?
okay, I don't really agree because that's why it's called social enterprise. You have I mean, the entrepreneur make the decision to run a business that in the same time providing solutions to the social or environment issues, and they need to have um, understand their business model. I mean, the basic business model where how they want to sell the product. I mean, how they do their marketing, normal like any other conventional business. But they have to. It's just that they make the decision to run as a social enterprise because they have their own passion, they have their own reason why they pick or decided to run as a social enterprise, and so um, there's no other reason. It's just that maybe some experience meeting social enterprise that focus on selling to for CSR. They set up their business as a Sdn Berhad or enterprise, but there seems that they are not clear. So this has to be changed, and that if after 3 years this most of the revenue still from I mean funding, so we don't see the business is sustained enough if the funder decided to move to other NGOs probably. And I agree with the question just now. It's just that maybe some, not all, because we can see the growth of social enterprises in Malaysia where they are, doing well so that they can do good, and we must educate more, especially those young people that are really passionate running a social enterprise to understand that business comes first. They need to be able to sustain in order to fund for whatever social costs.
Okay, Pradanja. Okay, that was excellent points by you. Okay, so now we have again from Prof. Hassan. Before start the end of this the questions. So from Mama Hassan asked about the last questions to Pradanja. So BNM and Security Commissions is looking into the implementations of the criteria. Do you think SME Corp should provide some funding for SMEs going for full implementations of the ESG criteria? Do you get
Hmm.
that? Okay.
Okay, I don't hear clearly, but I guess I understand the question. It would be good if, some fund given to SME Corp, for example, to probably monitor and providing funding to micro SMEs that would like to integrate ESG. Same like the current, what SME Corps are offering now, the score rating, which they probably can include where for like the social part or ESG part into their system, so that if SMEs are applying for that score rating, they can also opt to to complete that part on their ESG contribution, and probably it will give them extra points. Probably, yeah, I agree with the questions, and yeah, maybe we can have further bring this forward to Kuskop then.
and yeah, I got your point, and then there's very, amazing explanations from you. Okay, Prof. Hassan also mentions about business model is based on triple bottom line to support from the questions from PM Dr. Chela, because I see also have their own business model means based on the triple bottom line. So we know that they have the profits and also the social missions, right? Okay. So Puan Naja, we have another questions. This has become a hot topic. So you have many questions from the audience itself. Okay. So the next question is, okay, wait, I want to see the questions. Okay. In addition to doing a lot of goods for society and the environment, there is a lot of money to be made in both the sustainability field and in risk mitigations. So where do you see the most opportunities as we move forward towards ESG? Puan Anja, we cannot hear you.
Sorry, can you repeat?
Okay, in addition to doing a lot of good for society and the environment, so there is a lot of money to be made in both the sustainability field and in risk mitigation. So where do you see the most opportunities as we move forward towards ESG? Because when we talk about sustainability, yeah, maybe we need to spend some amounts of money. So what is your comment about this?
Like I mentioned earlier, when I answering to Prof. Hassan's question, that funding are there. Whether you do your uh, take responsibilities into contributing to ESG, and where the opportunity is, where you see your commitment for next 5 to 10 years or maybe more than that, that not only providing solutions, um, I mean environment or social solutions, but also attract investors to further invest in your company, as well as investors. I mean, not only someone that put in invest in your company and get some equity, but investors from the form of your customers, the consumers, where they see that whether you are SE or non SE, but you have a clear mission in tackling all those social or environment issue, they will definitely support your company. As I recall, a survey done by Nielsen in 2014-2015, that from the survey they do to global consumer, they see that the trend has changed towards their behavior, where they are more into purchasing products that from a company that supporting or tackling social environment issues. So I see that there's an opportunity, not as just to gain from outside, but you have your internal gain as well, that you know that you are somehow doing good. I hope I answered the question, because not so clear here. I'm so sorry.
It's okay, Puanja. It's very clear, and then we get your point. Okay, Puan Anja, is it possible nowadays to use ESG? Because previously you mentioned about maybe lack of accredited SE. So, is it possible or relevant if we want to use ESG now or in the future? Because maybe in the future we not call ESG anymore, but maybe we call FESG, EFSEG. So, what's your comment about this? Because it's not still new, but Malaysia maybe is new for them. So, what is your
Yeah.
comment on that?
Okay. For my personal, kalau personal opinion, uh, we know that SDG is a time bound. It's like 15 years. Previously was known as Millennium Development Goal (MDG). So we don't know what will it be called after this. But as I mentioned earlier, that the goal is to transition to global circular economy. and probably the new name will be related to circular economy. I'm not sure, but somehow and ESG is just a tool to measure in what ways your contribution to the economic improvement of the economic, the community economic, or to the social or even environment. And I mean, it's just that we want you to be more conscious lah, more conscious that it's good that you are making profit. Not for some they don't see the necessary because they are doing good already, but maybe we know that this company also do their CSR. Just change a bit how or in what ways using running a more impactful and sustainable CSR rather than one time off. I don't like to mention this, but maybe because this is my personal opinion, we know that some of one touch and go, I call it touch and go CSR, like feed the homeless, you back to school program, or even beach cleaning. Where do you see the sustainable part? If you, for example, like feed the homeless, maybe you spend 100,000 ringgit to sponsor 100,000 of homeless and providing their pet foods. But do you really measure? For every 1 ringgit that you spend, how what is the social return on investment compared to if you're providing skills training to these homeless so they are able to change their life in next maybe 1 or 2 years, you still can measure that. So I guess whether you are towards ESG or not, but having this conscious mind and maybe tweak a bit when you do your CSR, and do think about how it can really make an impact as well as a sustainable activities program.
So far, yeah, I think sometimes some of the people is very confusing, especially when they mentions about ESG, MDG, SDG, so many GG, yeah, so many, and then sometimes they make confused when mentions about SDG. They say, oh no, this is SDG. This is about the volunteerism, for example. So not many people understand about ESG, MDG, and SDG. Actually, if you can, if one you can you give some, suggest a brief, something that more easy to them to understand actually what is the difference between the ESG, MDG, and SDG, in
Oh,
a easy words, Okay.
ESG, MDG, SDG.
Yeah, SDG.
Okay, MDG, also known as Millennial Development Goal, was is a time bound similar like SDG. Masa tu Millennial Development Goal, they only they have 8 goals to achieve, and of course the number one is maintain like zero poverty, and but somehow by after like 10 years, 12 years, they feel that it's not really good enough. And that's when 2015 they introduced SDG, Sustainable Development Goal, where it has 15 goals, 17 goals. And of course, they have, I mean, tractions, indicators. And there is a time bound, something that they provide. They give you an example. A guideline, how you want to, support providing solutions. You can decide to choose eradicate. Poverty, zero poverty, where you can also provide like support SDG number 3, good health and well-being, or number 4, education. There's 17 goals there. You can just pick, or you can Google how other countries, other companies that using that to solve certain issues. And ESG is, in other way, is a tools to measure. For example, in your community, for example, that you see in Taman ABC, for example, and during pandemic, read there's the increased numbers of domestic violence, abuse, and then you now like want to support. In what ways you can support? Maybe you form a group and to like get to know about your neighbors who are actually suffering, and from there you form an activity and to maybe educate. So something that you used to see how you can measure. Maybe from there you are able to, work with other entity or NGOs to provide support, counseling for what. There's an activity that you can help measure. So that is, ESG. But of course, there's other tools where you can also measure to the very details. I don't want to go through that, but back to your question, doctor. So that's just the explanation. But again, I did highlight it to the UNDP in few conferences before. If ever since 2016 until early this year, 2022, I did raise about these SDGs are not well known by many SMEs or even micro SMEs because there's not many materials in other languages. We see it's mostly in English. Not many materials in Mandarin, Tamil, or even Bahasa. And so they just ignore because it's too jargon. And we know when we have conferences only, only big corporates, big brands are involved. And so this micro SMEs, if they don't understand, why do they bother? And but pity because we have about 1.1 million SMEs registered, micro SMEs registered in Malaysia, and if they are not educated or know or conscious about this, so it's a waste. They are the among the biggest, polluters lah, kan, if they are not educated. So we need a more support from maybe academicians to have these materials, education things to our SMEs and micro SMEs.
Okay, very good, Puan Anja. And we have last questions. And we're from Prof. Hassan again because he cannot resist to ask another question. So it is a known fact that most companies tend to focus more on the E and G component, but lacking in implementing the social criteria. The S part will be an added advantage to the SEs as they have been focusing on this S component throughout their company lifetime. What do you think about it, Vananja?
Yes, I do agree with that because I myself have meeting with many big corporations, and yeah, most of their focus is on that E, the environment, and lack with S. This is where I see the opportunities because we can help. These companies can now work with social enterprises that solving into social issues. Social and economic issues maybe, and they also can provide mentoring and support to these SMEs. So I don't know whether I can reveal this company name. It's a very big, a public listed company here in Kuala Lumpur. I had a meeting with the sustainability director, and she also agreed that they are lack into that S. And I would love to work with social enterprises that focus on social and economic issue, and also provide mentoring, so I can see where both can have a win-win-win situation. Why three win? Because not only the corporate and social enterprises, but as well as the community that they want to support. I see that's the ni lah, where a collaboration, and also as an ESCO member of WENA, one of the now I wear different hat. We work with we have actually trying to work with many corporates in to provide mentoring on this ESG to SMEs as well as micro entrepreneurs, so that we want to see positive change, at least a small change.
Okay, that's a very detailed answer to the questions. I believe that Prof. Hassan is very happy with the answer, and we will see you again after this. He will be A class. So apparently, we still have anonymous questions or topic to be discussed as we see them on the chat box. However, due to the limited time, we need to end our discussion session. So Maybe some selected remaining questions will still be addressed by the speakers and also organizer, maybe via emails. So, ladies and gentlemen, so we have finally come to the end part of second session. So, before I close the sessions, I would like to invite Mrs. Anja to give us some short closing remarks. So, please, Puan Anja, maybe.
Okay. I mean, definitely, this is among the change that our, entrepreneurs have to face, and take it as a learning process that companies moving in that direction. A lot is happening now that includes wider change, like what from the discussion just now with Tuan Novi. You have to, face the change. What's happening? From physical now you move to digital. So same like when you want to integrate or understand about ICT and ESG, and also we need to have the continuous support from the government. Government to business to the public, and it's essential to for keeping investors and entrepreneurs' interests aligned. That I believe lah. So it's like a shared long-term perspective and an ecosystem with a purpose that everything is committed to. So that is the only way it will work. That's my last note lah.
Okay, Fajr. Thank you, Puan Anja. Thank you for the concise closing remarks. And we get many information for today, especially about the ESG, on how they play the role and also the functions and how we can gain the profit and also the pro and cons with the ESG and also the challenges that they will face, especially to a small company because the big company they have we say that they are investors, so they have money to spend, right? So they can give us that funds, maybe or collaborations to do something. At least we can give contributions to our social and also economic development. Okay, I think that's a very interesting for today discussions, and we get many informations and something that maybe we can do, especially for the researcher and also for our publications about ESG and also another G. Okay, for Anja, so I would like to thank to Puan Anja, Mrs. Anja, for her informative and also interesting presentations. It was a pleasure to have you with us, Puan. This is from my heart. It's very true that we are proud of you, and we are very happy to see you here to give your sharing and also your your knowledge and also experience about ESG. So if I can, so please give applause for the speakers and for you all also, the ladies and gentlemen. So I think that's all. Thank you. So now I should remind everyone that we will be continuing again on the third session. So for the next session, ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome our keynote speaker three, Dr. Ajla Mokhtar, is a senior lecturer, University of Hertfordshire, with beautiful moderator, Dr. Hana Yasmin Hafiz. So please welcome.
Thank you so much. Right, sorry. Thank you so much, Dr. Nurahani. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. For those who are just virtually joining us on UMKFB Official, welcome to the first International Conference on Entrepreneurship, Innovation and Technology. I'm Hana Hafiz, and it is my pleasure to be the moderator for this keynote session on women in STEM. First of all, may I introduce to you all our keynote speaker, Dr. Ajla Mokhtar. Dr. Ajla Mokhtar is a senior lecturer in human resource management at Hertfordshire Business School, University of Hertfordshire, United Kingdom. She is also a certified fellow of the Higher Education Academy Fellowship Program, tutor for business administration, and a former CIPD tutor teaching HR professionals in Oxford. Her major teaching consists of people and organization, international and comparative HRM, managing people, cross-cultural management, business ethics, employment law, and equality and diversity at work. Meanwhile, Her research interests are directly related to HR and social science discipline from various perspectives: career development of senior management, gender in senior management, employment relation, intersectionality, critical mass, and qualitative studies. Her work is broadly centered on the study of human resource management, including women's empowerment through participating in microfinance in Malaysia, work from home, and employee well-being and productivity, and transgender in the workplace. Dr. Ajla is recognized as top 100 most influential Bristol BAME powerlist alongside the Mayor of Bristol, Marvin Rees. She was recently nominated as Vice Chancellor Award 2021 for Tutor of the Year Award. Congratulations. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Ajla Mokhtar. And the floor is yours, Doctor. You're on mute. Can you please, on your mic.
So many drawbacks today. I do apologize. I do apologize that my background doesn't work today. So you have to see my bedroom.
No problem at all.
and again, thank you very much for your introduction. First of all, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shall I share with you my slides first, or?
Yeah.
Okay. Right, thank you very much. As Hannah already introduced about myself, that's me, the power of filter. Okay. So I am currently working as a senior lecturer in human resource management, and I do not need to reiterate what Anna has explained. And yes, we can go to the next slides, because today I'm going to talk about women in STEM. Thank you very much. Okay, this is just about about my professional overview. My research is about women in senior management. I explored about how women in senior management encountered their career challenges in upper echelons of senior management in Malaysia. I interviewed high-profile women in Malaysia, including the women minister. Again, as Hannah already explained about myself, this is just a brief overview about myself. So next, please. Right. I only have a few slides actually, because I don't have much to say. It's just that what I'm going to talk today is about women in STEM. Some of you may not know what STEM is. So STEM is referred to science, technology, engineering, and maths. We know that women are underrepresented in STEM fields. And if you look at the number of statistics around the world, including the ILO, the International Labour Organization, CIPD, or the ONS. ONS stands for the Office National Statistics. This is more on the UK side. And females are employed predominantly in jobs requiring low STEM skills. So if you make a link to the theory, if you talk about the occupational gender segregation, the reasons why women are underrepresented in STEM fields, because women tend to work in the horizontal, where women tend to work in the 5 C's areas. For example, cleaning, clerical, childcare areas. As compared to men, they tend to work in a male-dominated areas, for example, construction industries or engineering industries, things like that. But according to Fang and Parker, you can see that women in STEM actually earn more on average than women in non-STEM jobs. Why? Because the fact that they need to work in the male-dominated areas, the fact that they need to double up their efforts to be at the same par with men, sometimes the amount of salary that they earn is likely higher than those who are not in STEM jobs. Next, please. Right. Today I'm going to also explain about the 3 C's and the 3 S. The 3 C's considered as the competitiveness, cultural expectations, and connections. These are the basic challenges that women tend to lose, women tend to how to say that women tend to not manage to secure in STEM fields. For example, if we talk about competitiveness, some people thought that the women's competitors are actually males. No, it's wrong. Based on my own research as well, most of my female participants, they mentioned that their competitors are actually females themselves. And this is what we call Queen Bee syndrome, where in order for women to compete with men, they also have to compete with women. So we call it like, double competitions. So they need to, how to say that, they need to take down other women first in order for them to compete with with men. So that's what we call it queen bee syndrome. So that's why some women, they tend to it will be difficult for them to be at upper echelon of management, because there are a number of challenges for them to encounter. The other thing is, most of the senior women, they appear to adopt masculine traits. For example, they tend to be very aggressive, very assertive, because they say that in order for them to survive in the male-dominated areas, they need to act like men. Because again, when we talk about men, when we talk about manager, according to Shine's theory, think male, we have, whenever we think about males, we think about, whenever we think about managers, we think about males. Think male, think managers, something like that. So we, those are the things that actually, the background of the challenges itself is actually, women will need to compete with women as well. In terms of cultural expectations, if you talk from Malaysian aspect, we know that Malaysia is a very strong patriarchal society where, man is always number one sometimes. Okay. And then when we talk about the occupational gender segregation, where we have the horizontal versus the vertical segregation, when we talk about occupational gender segregation, men and women tend to do different jobs. As I already explained just now, women tend to work in the 5 C's areas like cleaning, caring, clerical, cashiering, catering, where these areas of jobs tend to receive less recognition, little power, little authority, and very much underpaid. And not many women manage to secure in STEM fields workforce. So those are the reasons why we have low number of women in STEM workforce. In reality, it's very difficult and it's very challenging for us to get women in the senior management, women in managerial positions themselves. But given that if we narrow it down to women in STEM, it's triple challenging, I would say. And then in terms of vertical segregation, let's say, for example, if women manage, for example, for my own research, my participants, they're all senior women already, and then they already managed to break all the glass ceilings. So according to them, even though some of them, from what I've analyzed, even though they managed to be at the senior managerial position, they still have, they still, their position is at the lower rank of senior management. You got what I mean? So let's say, for example, if they say that they sit in the boardroom, okay, if they say that their position is actually as a non-executive director, they actually have less power. So if you've been promoted to be in the boardroom, you may want to negotiate to be an executive director instead of to be a NED. So you must understand to differentiate between the NED and the ED, the executive directorships and also the non-executive directorships. These two positions, they are very different in terms of the authority, in terms of how you make a decision, in terms of the voice that you have in the boardroom, things like that. So if we have women in the boardroom, sometimes they tend to be they tend to hold only as a non-ED positions. Right. In terms of connections, now we talk about connections. Some women, it will be very difficult for them to go to the STEM workforce because they don't have connections. In Malaysia, maybe we call it cable, but no, it's not cable. It's all about the professional networking. But there are two types of networking. We call it formal networking and informal networking. Formal networking, for example, you can go via, you have your own meeting, let's say, for example, and then you have your own, the company meeting, the company events, things like that. That's what we call the formal meeting. Formal networking. But informal networking, let's say we talk about the old boys network. So men tend to have their own meetings after work hours. Let's say, for example, they go to have, they go to have drinks with their friends, so they play golf. So most of the women that I interviewed, those who already succeeded, they play golf. So some of them, they played golf because they said that in order for them to break the glass ceiling, in order for them to be at the same par with men, they need to understand the men's culture. So they played golf as well. In terms of informal networking, so what else? The informal networking, formal networking. But yeah, but I mean, for women, sometimes not many women are able to join the informal networking, especially those married women, because sometimes you have the barriers, like for example the childcare issues, families, you have other responsibilities, other commitments that you need to look at. And then in terms of mentoring, now mentoring, again, there are formal mentoring and informal mentoring scheme. Formal mentoring scheme, for example, where the companies will assign you a mentor for them to mentor you. Sometimes you don't have a chemistry with your mentor, with your official mentor. So most of the women, some women they like to have a male mentor, some women they like to have a female mentor. Those who like to have a male mentor, they say that because the male mentor will focus more on the job itself rather than female mentor. But those who prefer to have a female mentor, they say that women tend to understand better about yourself. Again, some women argued saying that, well, not really, because if you refer back to the queen bee syndrome, some women, they tend to not being supportive towards other women employees, things like that. What else? In terms of formal mentoring, informal mentoring, okay, some women, they have their own mentors outside their workplace. Let's say they have their own role models. In terms of women in STEM, we don't have many role models of women in STEM, and this is something that we need to work on. But again, because I am a freelance global career consultant, where I've met a lot of women in STEM. Those women in STEM, my clients who are all in STEM areas, they are all very good, and they manage to understand how to work in the male-dominated areas. They understand how to work in a multicultural team, and they understand how to bring themselves as a firm woman. So as a woman, if you want to work in STEM, of course, STEM usually being dominated by males, and you must understand how to bring yourself professionally, and you have to be firm. You have to be firm, you have to be assertive, but doesn't mean that you don't have to maintain your femininity, things like that. So these are the ways that some women, they tend to lose the confidence to work in STEM. Let's say, for example, one of the articles that I read, in terms of the number of percentages of women who study in STEM fields, even though they did well in their STEM studies, for example, in their maths and physics, things like that, but they ended up to not continue working in the STEM areas because of what? Because of these challenges, because they know that they may not be able to survive in the male-dominated areas because they don't have enough support for them to succeed in these male-dominated areas. Right, next please. Okay, now we already talked about the 3 C's. Let's proceed with the 3 S. The 3 S here, these are, the 3 basic recommendations or strategies that we may want to, suggest in order to overcome or in order to promote women in STEM. So if we talk about the, structural institutions, again, Malaysia is a very strong patriarchal society, and there are some elements of gender inequalities in the labor market. And if you look at the equality, diversity, and inclusion, we don't have very much campaign on this. We don't really focus on this because we still think men is number one, which is wrong. So we have to think that, in the UK, we have the Equality Act 2010, where there are 9 protected characteristics. So these 9 protected characteristics consist of gender, age, religion, disability, pregnancy, maternity, what else? Yeah, those things. But LGBT, those things. You can Google yourself. So in the UK, you cannot discriminate people because of these 9 protected characteristics, which I believe in our country, we don't really enforce this one. We may have our own protected characteristics, but given that Malaysia is a very structured institution, that's why we do need to have campaign. So in the UK, we call it the WISE campaign, the Women into Science and Engineering and Construction. So that's what we call the WISE campaign. I believe in Malaysia we do have the how to say that, the movements or maybe some campaigns or activities to promote more women in STEM. But again, as I mentioned, we have quite a number of female students graduated in STEM studies. However, when they go into workforce, into employment later on, they chose not to continue working there. I can talk about my own self as well, based on my personal experience, which, I can elaborate later. So in terms of sponsorship opportunities, okay, again, if you discuss from Malaysian aspect, yeah, Malaysia may want to promote to a fund or to provide more sponsorship opportunities. For example, you can send women for training. I think one of your speakers mentioned about the baby boomers generation X, Generation X, Generation Y. This involves psychological contract. When we talk about the psychological contract, sometimes you don't really need to have a proper written contract. You just need to have trust. So in terms of this, you may want to promote to have, if we talk about the structural institution, this is more about the macro aspects. If we talk about the sponsorship opportunity, this is more about the meso aspect. So let's say every organization, they may want to send their female employees to go for additional training in terms, let's say they can learn how to use Scratch. I'm sure, some of you may understand what Scratch is about the coding thingy. And then you may want to have soapbox science or science sparks, things like that. So in order to promote women or in order to encourage women to get involved in STEM in STEM fields. And then, of course, when we talk about STEM, it involves a lot of money. So it involves a lot of, costs. So if the government or if the companies itself, if they want to fund or provide more support in terms of financial aspects, I believe that many women would like to take the opportunities, to do more jobs or more roles or responsibilities in STEM workforce. The other aspect is about the strong support system. Of course, again, we know that, especially for those married women, we do need to have a very strong support system. We need to have an understanding husband. We need to have a very strong, support system. It could be, childcare. It could be from your immediate family or from your extended family. So if you look at Gregory and Milner, so this Gregory was my external examiner for my PhD. So she explored about shared parental leave in the European countries. In Malaysia, I believe that this is not really something that is not enforced properly. Some organizations, some fathers, they do need to take annual leave in order for them to look after their babies, which is, we shouldn't ask the fathers to take the annual leave. We should ask the fathers, to take the opportunities to have shared parental leave. So if women have maternity leave, maybe we could extend that kind of leave to the father. We call it shared parental leave. But yeah, next please. Oh, that's it. Thank you very much. I'm done. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Yeah, we were bombarded with a lot of questions at our chat box.
Oh,
yep, but yeah, I'm gonna bombard you with my questions. So among the referring to the 3C's career challenges that you already theorized, I'm referring to the Queen Bee syndrome. I'm referring to myself though in the industry, which is a newcomer. How do we combat this mentality?
Which mentality?
The Queen Bee syndrome.
Oh, okay. First of all, we need to support women. So we've been talking about women empowerment, but do we really empower another woman? So that's it. Okay. So that's why, it comes, if you talk about the intrinsic factors, extrinsic factors, those things, it starts from within. It starts from yourself. So we again, this is more about cultural aspects. Okay, in our culture, we tend to have this kind of mentality where you shouldn't support others because we need to go further. In order for us to succeed, we need to take other people's down, which is wrong. Okay, we shouldn't do that because again, another thing is, if we talk about from Western aspect, there's nothing personal. Okay, if it's wrong, it's wrong. This is more about cross-cultural communication aspect where we have low context cultural communication, high context cultural communication. So in terms of individualism and collectivism, again, if we are able to support women, we should be happy with whatever achievements that they have. Another thing that how to combat this mentality, maybe the government should provide more training for women. So most of the training that I've found, those training only focus on women in senior management already, but they don't have supports for women at the junior levels. So in this case, how on earth these junior women would be able to sharpen their leadership skills if we only focus those at the upper echelons? Those are the things. So you may want to have like a session with both senior and junior women, in order to support each other, which is it would be very brilliant if you have that kind of thing.
Thank you for that amazing answer.
Did I talk very fast? Sorry.
No. Moderate speed. Yeah. So there's a question from Azlin Charina. So she said, I have a question for Dr. Ajla. What practical steps have you taken to reduce the barriers faced by women, such as flexible working hours, remote working, maternity leave, and work-life balance in the effort of surviving in this male-dominated field?
Oh, that's a good question. Again, this is more about how the company will be able to provide support. So it's all down to the company itself. So again, because of this pandemic, some companies they tend to introduce new policy like flexible work policy. I'm not sure about in Malaysia, but in the UK, like in my case, I don't have to go to work every day. If I go to work every day, one of my colleagues used to say that, Ajla, why do you have to come every day? You don't have to come every day. So here in the UK, if you only go to work like 2 days a week. One of my clients, he's a bridge engineer. So he only goes to work once a month. He's an engineer, but he goes to work only once a month or twice a month. Can you imagine that? So those are the things. It depends on the company itself. So how the company come out with the policies, so it depends on the organizational culture itself. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. We have to go to work every day. Not like in UK. Yep. It's already enforced. So, okay, next question from Dr. PM Norshella Chitnawi. Dr. Ajla, for women in the challenges itself is to understand the role of personal and professional identity. This might hinder them not just to involve in STEM, but in many situations, especially where it is come to manage the organizations, etc.
For women, the challenges is to understand the role of personal and professional identity. This is what hinders them just involved in STEM, but okay. Now we talk about women in management. Okay, women in senior management. Again, the company should be able to provide support. Okay, this is why we talk about the meso level. The company should be able to provide extra support to the female employees. So not only focus on the male employees, and they should be able to promote diversity in the workplace. They should be able to promote gender equality in the workplace. For example, they may want to, offer a kids corner. I believe some of the organizations in Malaysia, they do provide kids corner. But again, in the UK, not many companies do that because of the security and safety aspects. So we are not allowed to bring our children on campus because of the security aspects, insurance aspect, things like that. Again, to answer the question, the company and yourself, you may want to speak to your boss as well, saying that, we need to make a change. We need to change the organizational culture because if you need to start with something actually. Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you. And okay, more question from Ellie. So what institutional and societal changes need to be made for women to be empowered?
Institutional and societal changes.
Yeah.
need to be made for women to be empowered. We must change the policy. We must introduce the new policy. For example, we must understand about the gender policy. I'm not sure if we do have gender policy in Malaysia. I believe maybe we don't have. Okay, let's say, for example, if we talk about gender quota, I think in Malaysia we do have gender quota in order
Yeah,
to
we
have
do have.
more women in senior management. And in the public sector, we managed to exceed the target already. So the target was 30%. Another argument on that would be it's a different form of discrimination towards men. Okay.
Yeah.
However, if we don't have that kind of quota, yeah, we may not be able to have more women in the boardroom again. So that's why you need to have this kind of enforcement. Some countries, like for example the Scandinavian countries, they do have this quota, but like country like the UK, they don't like the quota elements, because it is, the UK, they don't like to be told. Okay,
Yeah.
they say that we go for the voluntarily target. So any company under the FTSE 100 company or FTSE 250 companies, they will encourage more women to be in the senior management positions. So to answer that question, it depends on the government themselves to come out with a new policy, or it depends on the mentality. It depends from the small community. It depends on how you promote the campaign for women in order for them to succeed in the STEM workforce. STEM workforce.
STEM. Okay. All right. So there's another question from Dr. Naim Hayat. So what kind of possibilities for women in STEM?
There are so many possibilities. Some of them will be positive possibilities. Some of them will be negative possibilities. The positive possibilities would be they may be able to succeed. Like my clients, most of my clients, they manage to succeed. They manage to have a team where they need to lead men. Okay, those the positive possibilities. But the negative possibilities where they chose to quit from that job, because they don't receive enough support. So yeah, that could be the negative possibilities.
All right. So there is a widespread macho culture in STEM sectors. Macho culture, sorry. So in tech and computer science, brother and programmer culture pushes women to leave the sectors. So how we can change this type of culture, Doctor?
There is a widespread macho culture in STEM sectors. In tech, programmer. Culture pushes women to leave the sectors. I was in this line before. So I did my degree in software engineering, and then I used to work with Kazana and United of Engineers Malaysia. There's nothing wrong with them. They are very brilliant. Okay, they are very good organization. But the fact that I had to deal with I had to deal with giant stakeholders, and at that point of time, I was still single. So I came home at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I had to go back to work at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I thought that, if I was still single at that time, that's fine. But if I have children, I have other responsibilities, that would be difficult. Because when we talk about programming thingy, you need to have like cognitive engagement, where you need to understand, you need to focus on, you need to focus on one task, one particular task, which is the coding. If you talk about coding, programmers or thingy, whenever you have one bug, the whole system may not be able to run. That's why sometimes, if we have children, how are you going to find this one bug if your children kept, yelling mommy, 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 and mommy, but the daddy, still over, they still survive, they're still alive over there, but as if they're not exist. So yeah, I hope I answered that question.
All right. Yep. I share the same concern, obviously, because we are the women in the managerial position. So we have to make decisions. We have to do work long hours. But meanwhile, at the same time, we also have families and responsibility as well, right? So the next question from Dr. Nur Azia, say, Dr. Ajla, how can we calculate the positive impacts of having empowered women in the STEM organization?
How can we calculate the positive?
Measurements, is it? Some sort of
How
measurement
do we make?
questions.
Okay, no, okay, right. Excuse me. In order to in order to answer these questions, again, it is very subjective. It depends on the level of job satisfaction and the level of job engagement. So now, if you talk about from Kant's theory, sorry, I think it's my daughter's phone. Sorry. So when we talk about Kant's employee engagement theory, there are three elements. We have cognitive engagement, physical engagement, and cognitive emotional engagement. Okay. To answer that question, if women in STEM have received proper support from the company, they may, the level of job satisfaction in the STEM workforce will be increased. Okay, because they tend to have they tend to feel a sense of belonging working in the organization. But if the companies do not provide any extra support, do not increase, do not consider any intrinsic or extrinsic factors, in terms of pay, in terms of rewards, in terms of recognition, people don't leave the organization, people leave the bosses sometimes. Okay, so that's why sometimes women tend to quit the STEM job because of the bosses. Apparently some female bosses, they do not support another female employee because they say that if I can, why can't you? Okay, which is wrong. That kind of mentality is wrong. If I can, that means you still need to support them. Okay, not to feel arrogant towards them because you used to be there and you need to be able to support them.
That's right. Yep. Right. Good elaboration. Okay, there's more question from Dr. Solomon Zato. Thanks for the elaborate presentation. Please advise for developing countries like Africa to promote STEM where females are not interested in science education.
Okay.
Yeah, this is crucial.
All right. I teach a lot of African students, to be honest. They are very good. Okay, they are very hardworking. They how to say that, they show efforts, to do well in their studies. So in terms of this is down to the company, to the country, to the culture, and it is down to the society itself. Again, if you talk about from African aspects, now let's focus on the socio-economic background, socio-economic status. We know that Africa is a developing country. In Africa, from my understanding, you have different clans, I would say. So those who are rich will be more. They will be richer. Those who are not rich, things like that. Again, I believe that you'll be able to understand what I'm going to say. But again, in this kind of thing, it is down to the institutional aspect. Given that the country itself, the government itself, you tend to have three, if I'm not mistaken, you tend to have three different leaders, I would say, where they have their own their own agenda, I would say. From my understanding, I'm not sure what is your background, but from my understanding, like one of the I'm not sure, it's what we call it. It's not clear. One of the tribes, they call it Yoruba. They are very business minded. So the people from this tribe, they will help those from this tribe. Okay, and then another one, we have another tribe. So if the country itself manage to merge these tribes, work together alongside each other, I believe that they will be able to support women, to support women in STEM itself. Because again, African countries, they are all very patriarchal society, and where sometimes female, they are not allowed to say anything. Okay, those mentalities will also need to be changed. How to change that? You need to be knowledgeable, you need to have the knowledge to to argue professionally. You're on mute.
Oh, sorry. Mute. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah. Sorry. So this is from my question, my own personal question. So, what are some of the personal experiences or compelling arguments that have influenced your thinking around gender and STEM, and have motivated you to get involved in being an advocate for change?
That is an interesting question because, as I mentioned before, I came to the UK. I work as a software engineer, I would say, where I had to liaise directly with the software engineers. I had to liaise directly, with the male engineers, software engineers, where we had to build a system. Again, because the level of job responsibilities are very high, and you need to have team. At that point of time, I did not have much team, I did not have much support. So those are the things that I said that that's it. I don't think I would be able to do this if I have children. That's why I quit. So those are the things, if the company managed to support more, if the company managed to provide more benefits to the female engineers or women engineers, or women in STEMs, for example. I believe that they will be able to do. Women will be able to do better than men.
Mhm. So, having said that, you used to be a software engineer, right? So, are hobbies in STEM important? I mean, what about hobbies in general? Can you share some of your hobbies that may have contributed you to have some your STEM involvement?
So when we talk about STEM, there are many aspects that you can discuss. For example, in my aspect, of course, I would focus more on technology. For example, in terms of video editing. So my eldest daughter, I send my children, to attend the coding training, the coding courses, what we call it, Scratch. Scratch, yes,
Scratch. Yeah.
Scratch. So they, at the age of their age, they managed to come out with their own websites. So one of them managed to create their own games because they play Roblox, So those are the things, that my hobby is, of course, by doing the video editing. It is still considered as STEM, because it's about technology. But for my children, of course, I encourage them to join, those coding courses.
That's good. So, what about your role models? Can you name any women role models who have made a strong impact in the STEM community, and how has their impact made an influence to your life?
But outside Malaysia, I would say Ursula Burns. If you see, she was a former CEO at Xerox. She even was the first female CEO in top 50 Fortune Black women. So yeah, it's very, when we talk about Black, these people are from the BAME category, Black, Asian, Minority, Ethnic, which is good. So that's why I was quite impressed. She was a former CEO of Xerox for 7 years, from 2010 to 2017. And then if we talk about from Malaysian aspects, I would say two of my research participants stood out the most. One of them was Datuk Noraini Sultan. She is a managing director in engineering company, if I'm not mistaken. And then another one was Puan Merzela Sabtu. She was a former chief real estate officer in Tabung Haji. So these women, they got involved they always work in the male dominated areas. Let me share with you about their experience. I mean, Datuk Norani, she used to mention to me that, when she was in Japan, for example, she brought her male employee. So when she discussed with the Japanese guys, the Japanese guy refused to talk to her. So the Japanese guy talked to the male employee. The male employee felt guilty, of course, because this woman was the boss. So he said that, look, I'm not the boss, she is the boss. So you need to speak to her. But the Japanese guy felt awkward. He was like, oh, I don't feel comfortable to talk to her because she's a woman. Although she's a managing director, but I don't feel comfortable. So those are the things that, and then, in terms of, another one, the one that I mentioned, Puan Merzela Sabtu, she played golf, and then she understood how to penetrate in a male dominated area. So she knew how to bring herself in a male-dominated area. That's why she managed to succeed, and she managed to be in the boardroom as a as a women BOD.
It's very impressive. Oh yeah, we got another comment from Dr. Siti Afika. So she asked you, like, doctor, as a woman with career, how can women balance career and other things?
Right, that's a good question. So again, we need to have a very strong support system. We need to educate our husband. We need to educate men around us. Okay, we need to tell them that, look, we are not a housewife. Okay, we work, we bring the money into the household, and you need to understand to respect us as well. Okay, so we need to share job responsibilities. So another thing is, you also need to understand about, you need to have a strong support system in terms of networking. You may want to network with other professional women, let's say, for example, those in the STEM workforce, and you may want to share that about your challenges, about their challenges. You may want to share ideas how to succeed in your own career, so that both of you will share, equally, perpetually, in order to how to succeed in STEM workforce.
Right, that's right.
Yeah,
And yep. Another question. So yeah, we were bombarded with a lot of questions. All right. So doctor, I think in Malaysia, not many women involved in STEM. But Malaysia Higher Education through National STEM Association, led by Datuk Noraini, is actively promoting STEM in school to cultivate the involvement of students, particularly for female students, to be in STEM. So do you think that the awareness of STEM should be started at young age, or else? Generation nowadays heavily rely on technology, even kids have their own smartphone now.
To answer the question, it's a big yes. It's a big yes, because that's what I did. In fact, my eldest, she received a letter from the head teacher saying that, because she performed well in maths. I don't know where did she get the brain. I don't like maths, to be honest, but I don't know where she get it. But anyway, so the head teacher sent an email saying that, look, we found that your daughter performs really well in maths, and we would like to nominate her to join the STEM maths tutorial program at national level. So in her school, only 2 been nominated, and one of them is her. Okay, so the program is funded by the government, of course, Ministry of something I can't remember, and that's how they encourage the students, young children, young mathematicians, to focus in maths, to focus on maths. So it's good that Malaysia does have this kind of, movement, I would say, but it has to be, you need to make it continuously. Don't stop it halfway, because from what I've seen, when we have this thing, if we don't receive enough support, or enough, how to say that, enough
endorsement,
pardon?
Endorsement,
no,
or
endorsement, enough, I can't remember the words.
Enforcement.
Not enforcement, enough attraction, is it? Something like that. I can't know. Tiada sambutan. Okay. Tiada sambutan. Okay. Tiada sambutan. So they tend to, they tend to diminish the program.
Yeah.
Okay? Which is, you shouldn't. Sometimes there are, some people who like to join. It's seasonal. So that's why you need to keep continuing, the program. Another thing is, it's good that you mentioned about the screenages. Of course, when we talk about screenages, again, for my children, their school, they do provide laptop. Okay, so that for them to use laptop, for them to understand how to get involved in STEM. And in fact, their school also, they don't use they use the what we call it, the whiteboard, how do you call it, the smart board. Okay, so that every morning, children will self-register themselves. So they go to the front class, they just touch their name, and then which lunch they wanted to go, things like that. So those are the ways. It looks simple, but it encourage it is one of the ways to encourage children to get involved with STEM. Yeah. Yes, to answer your question, yes, we do need to continue this. Yeah.
Okay, so what advice would you give to women who are questioning their STEM-related career or studies?
What was your question? Sorry.
Yeah. What advice would you give to women or undergrads or graduate students who are questioning their STEM-related career or studies?
I see. So if you have already started, if you have already embarked in that journey, please continue. Do not quit. That's it. Okay. Do not quit. You're not only wasting your time, you're not only wasting your money, you are also wasting your lecturer's time as well, your parents' time as well. So do not quit. Just get it done, and then you can think about your future. Let's say, for example, yes, some women in STEM, I mean some female students in STEM, yes, of course, they perform well, they scored well in their studies, and then they decided to quit because they did not receive support. This is where the institutions, the universities, the higher education will need to provide more supports, more training to these female students, invite, the external collaborators, for example, the companies, maybe the technology company, for them to, to talk about their companies. This is more about the employability skills, where, the students will see, they will be able to see the career path once they graduate. Yeah, things like that.
All right. So there's another question on of your own opinion. I mean, do women perform better in STEM, or is it men perform better in STEM?
Oh, I always think women do better than men because So now let's talk about cognitive aspect, right? Men, they tend to have they tend to focus on one thing because they tend to have a cognitive engagement. Okay, whereas women, they are very multitasking persons. So of course, I would say that women, if we put trust on them, if we give enough support for them, I believe that they will fly, very very high in terms of, in this area. And another thing is, if we talk about what was it? I can't remember. Sorry, I'll come back about it.
Okay. Come on. Yeah, it's 5:30 in UK right now. We understood your blurry thoughts right now. It might be cloudy. So okay, okay, for your personal experience as well. So name 3 changes that make your life easier. I mean, your career as a woman in STEM in UK.
3
What
top
are
changes. Okay, I would
Yeah.
say supportive bosses, supportive husband, and positive organizational culture. Because if you have these 3 elements, it will give a lot of difference. I'm trying to find the right words now. So yeah, again, if I mean, first of all, you need to educate your spouse, of course. You need to educate your children as well. You need to say that, well, listen, mommy is not a housewife. Mommy also work. I have to do this to bring in the money to raise you. Okay. And from there, my children, whenever the school asks them, who is your role model? They said, my mommy. So that's what we need. We need to penetrate
yes.
their brain, saying that, of course, daddy is doing well as well. It's just that, we have to sell ourselves professionally. If we don't support other women, if we don't sell ourselves professionally, if we don't make ourselves visible, if we don't convince others that we can do, so how are we going to succeed in STEM fields? Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I do believe in women empower women, not the other way, not men empowerment. It should be women that empower women, right? So, okay, there's another question on this.
Can I say something, Hannah? One more thing.
Yes, please.
When we talk about men empower women, if you have heard about he for she campaign, I'm not sure in Malaysia. I think in Malaysia they do have like PwC. I remember one of my research participants. She worked with PwC. She's one of the partners already. She said that her partner at that time, her director or something, he supported her very much. So that's what we call it he for she campaign. So let's say, for example, in order for women to be seen, in order for women to be visible, they need to have men to talk about them. So yeah, there are some elements where men can empower women, but of course, professionally.
Yeah. Obviously. Okay. So the question is more about wage. Do you pay? I mean, like when we talk about women empowerment, so usually women are underpaid, although you're working in the same industry. So are you equally paid in Hertfordshire Uni? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
In fact, I earn higher than some of the male colleagues over there. So anyway.
That's good. I mean, those stigma or those stereotypes, I think in Malaysia, they do have this kind of wage gap among women employees and male employees. So what's your comment on this?
The pay gap in Malaysia.
Yeah, wage gap.
So when we talk about the pay gap in Malaysia, first of all, when you go for the interview, never ever mention or never ever disclose your salary. Okay. If you disclose your salary, it's your loss. Okay. Because let's say if they ask you what's your expected salary, and then you say 10,000, but then the company's budget is 20,000, it's your loss. Okay. So never ever disclose your budget, your salary. And then I remember one of my clients. She's in a reservoir engineering sector. So she knew that she was underpaid. And then when she met me, she sought my advice. I said that you never ever disclose your salary. And she managed to be promoted, and she managed to get a new position, and she managed to get 100% of salary increments.
Wow.
Okay? It's
Right.
very much evidence that she was very much underpaid in the previous organization. So yeah. Never
Yeah. Okay. So there's a question from Azwa Kadri. So hi, Dr. Ajla. Doctor, can housewife involve in STEM? If yes, any idea, Doctor,
yes.
or can contribute?
You can do your own YouTube channel. That is STEM. Technology. You can, let's say, for example, if you are a housewife, now let's talk about maths. If you're very good in numbers, if you're very numerical expert, for example, you still can, be a personal tutor, or part-time tutor for maths. You can teach you can teach those young children, you can teach those in the secondary school, things like that. So there are many ways for for housewife can get involved, which you can work from home as well. Given the technology that we have now, you still can do like online courses via Microsoft Teams or Zoom or what else do we have? Google Meet and StreamYard, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, StreamYard.
There are so many ways. You just need the technology. You just need the equipment, which you don't really have to invest more. Or if you need to invest, just invest. You don't really have to buy the first hand. This is the mentality as well in Malaysia. You need to buy new items. You need to buy, first hand. If you don't buy first hand, another thing, you don't really have to think about others. Yes, we are from collectivist society where sometimes we tend to think about other people, which you don't have to waste your time to think about other people. Okay.
That's right. Yeah. So I think I read this article about math anxiety, where teachers who are predominantly women often have math anxiety. They pass on to girls, and they often grade girls harder for the same work and assume girls need to work harder to achieve the same level as boys. So this is actually an key factors that perpetuating gender STEM gaps. I mean, this is a recent study conducted by aauw.org. So what's your comment on this, on math anxiety?
So in this case, actually, the teachers, they should be professional. They shouldn't have any gender bias. Okay, they should be able to support. They should be able to provide, the same amount of support, not only to female students but also to male students. If they knew that the female students would be doing well or better as opposed to the female students, yes, it's fine to give like harder questions to challenge them, but not to judge them. It's different. You can challenge them. Let's say if you talk about taekwondo, okay?
Mm.
For women, in order for them, I mean, for female taekwondo students, yeah, in order for them to level up their taekwondo skills during training, they need to fight with male colleagues, male friends, for example, so that during the competition later on, during the championship later on, they know what to expect. So if they have like female opponents, they can easily beat them down, for example, because you've already, you know, trained with the male candidates, male taekwondo. Same goes to this, maths thingy, where if you have, like, for example, how to say that? If you have, where was I? If you have, you need to challenge them, but not to judge them. That's it. Yeah. So the teachers should be professionals.
All right.
Does that answer your
So
question?
yep, you're answering the question. Well, yeah. So we're coming to an end. So this is actually the last question asked by Dr. Azizharina. So she said, as a woman, we are sometimes in dilemma whether to focus on our careers or focusing on our families, especially living in this Malay culture where the wife needs to take care of the family and the household. We might have supportive husbands, but somehow the extended families are the ones who complain. So we sometimes face problem with our bosses, especially when we are pregnant or need to take annual leave to take care of sick children. So what is your advice for women who's facing this kind of perception?
This is like a confession, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Heart to heart.
Heart to heart,
Yeah.
gitu. Okay. So in this case, yeah, again, the bosses will need to change their mentality. This is more about the employees and employers' perspectives. The bosses should be able to understand the employee's position. Okay, they shouldn't be brutal. Okay, they should be able to provide support, extend their support in terms of emotional engagement, or maybe in terms of flexible work policy, or maybe additional, or you can create job sharing opportunities. And then in terms of the extended families, we cannot make everyone's happy. Okay, don't think. My advice is just do your best and do not take it personally. Just do your best. If you just, if sometimes silence is the best conversation in the world. you know they can say
Alright.
anything, we cannot shut other people's mouth. You just need to focus on your job, you just need to focus on your family. As long as you still have your husband, as long as you know what you are doing, you know that you still feed your children, you still bring the money in to the house, that's it.
Thank you for that motivation, I guess. All right. So thank you very much for that, for this interesting talk. Thank you, Dr. Ajla. So it's like 5, is it near 5:45 in UK right now, right? Thank you for, ladies and gentlemen, may I thank you for your participation in this session. I hope you enjoyed the program. I look forward to work with you in the future. Finally, on behalf of University Malaysia Kelantan, I thank you, Dr. Ajla, for putting her precious time aside. It is 5:45 a.m. in UK right now. So thanks again for coming in and sharing her insights on women in STEM. So I'll pass you over to my colleague, our beloved MC, Dr. Nomariana. The floor is yours. Thank you. See
Thank you
you.
very much for having me.
Bye.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Okay, thanks to Dr. Hannah Yasmin. Ladies and gentlemen, as the saying goes, to every beginning there is an ending. And now the opening ceremony has now come to the end. On behalf of the committee, I would like to extend my utmost appreciation to all our invited keynote speakers. I would like to take these opportunities to extend my appreciation to our co-organization and also individuals who have been involved in making this conference a success. Most importantly, on behalf of the organizing committee of First ICEIT 2022. We will continue this virtual conference with parallel session via Zoom platform at 2 p.m. Please refer to the First ICEIT 2022 program book for the details of the presentation links of each session. I would also like to remind all of the participants that we will have a second day tomorrow through the same platform, officially FKP Facebook at 9 a.m. With that, I end this ceremony today with Wabillahi Taufiq wa Hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.